And we're back. We're live. We're early. But that's okay.
Yes!
This review will last longer than 17 seconds.
Or we'll have 3 hours of 17-second anecdotes.
Yes.
But, you know, what a great picture of Worf I found. All of the emotions in the thumbnail. That was, happy when I found that. I'm like, yep, Michael's back. Michael is rocking that Worf face.
Yeah.
Yes, and you have a poll as well. So I was going to do the exact same poll, and I jumped on and saw you already made one. So well done. The question you asked was, what has been the best episode so far this season? Episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and there's a slight advantage in terms of scores right now. So go vote.
Mm-hmm.
That might change with more votes, but I mean that's a bit of a.
Well, initially it started out like season or episode 2 was winning when I first started the poll, but yeah.
All right, well, I'll start sharing and get the word out there that we're live. Huzzah!
All right, well, you do that, and I'll talk to these fine folks. 27 of you here, 19 likes, guys. That's awesome. Hit the like button, though. We want to get off. Well, that sounds really dirty. We want to kick this off with a good head start. So hit that like button. Wow. We can't even. Sorry. We do kind of want to get off. Anyway, yeah, so hit that like button if you're able to, and super chat in with your thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, concerns, anything you have about this episode. This was a long one, and it's like 55 minutes, which is great. And there's a lot to talk about. It's very dense. So hopefully we can cover everything and have a very good discussion with you guys. So please participate by super chatting, hitting that like button, doing all the things. You guys know the routine. Make sure you're subscribed also and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss any of our edited content or our lives. We do a lot of this kind of stuff and we love doing it. We love hanging out with you guys. So, and also check out the links to the Teespring and the TeePublic store down below while I hit this ad button because YouTube wants me to. And we're back from that. Yeah, so click the link down below to get some Trekyards merchandise, some t-shirts, and mugs. Really cool stuff, actually. So check it out, see what interests you, and scoop up some Trekyards merch. We'd really appreciate that as well. It all helps out. So also joining the channel, we do have the join button down there, which you can select different ranks. And each rank, it's like a monthly subscription service kind of thing. Shows YouTube algorithm that you guys like us and you want to be part of the channel. So it really helps the channel immensely to join. Even if you click that button and just look at the different tiers that are available to you and the perks in each tier, that would really help us out. We do have the Trekyards fleet now. So at the end of every edited episode and during some of these lives as well, we play the fleet video where you get to see the ship you're on. You get to see who your captain is, one of your fellow Trekyardians from the chat there, and you get to see what ship you're assigned to, and depending on your rank, and there's a bunch of cool stuff with that. So at least check that out. And we will look forward to seeing you guys in the fleet. There's also the Discord server, the official Trekyards fleet Discord server, where you guys can join and chat with us, as well as your shipmates and your other Trekyardians all the time, anytime, on Discord. It's a fun way to interact as well. So please consider doing all the things, even heading over to Patreon/Trekyards if you prefer using Patreon, because all the tiers are available over there as well with all the same perks. So check that out. All right. Let's wait for Samuel to get back here. So he's coming back right now. So all right.
I'm back.
Ozzy throws in $2.
Oh.
Trekyards comes on Friday, not Tuesday. Well, I come on Tuesday as well, Ozzy. Most Tuesdays anyway. But yes, we are here Friday. That is correct. Brett Cooper.
And we went Stuart. We're also there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you were there Thursday. So, and we'll both be there Saturday and Sunday while not actually being there.
I don't think you got my joke, but okay. Yes.
Well, I know, but I'm innocent, Stuart. I have to admit,
yes,
the channel innocent.
Brett Cooper puts in $5. Did you notice Thomas Dekker is one of the changelings? He was John Connor in Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Well, he had many close-ups, so yes, we noticed him.
Yes.
He's hard to miss. Yeah. What were the sorts of scenes that just sort of kept going?
Yeah.
Or he's Picard's alternate future, Nexus child. Either one.
Yeah.
It's true.
Alyssa Jericho, member for 34 months at the link of Ensign.
It's amazing.
Shaw was right. I mean, Shaw was a lot of things. So, yes.
And how convinced were you he was going to get killed off in sickbay?
He's not going to die. He's going to survive the season.
I mean, the way they played it, they could have had him be killed and just,
He can go either way, yeah, for sure. But he's going to survive the season, I'm pretty sure. But I wasn't quite convinced he was going to get killed and he was going to get injured and taken out of the picture, and that definitely did happen. So,
well, most people were saying from the trailers, because Riker's in charge, he's going to get killed. That was kind of the prevailing. I mean, it's fine. I was happy he didn't die. I kind of assumed he was going to die, especially if Terry kind of hides his friend. It makes more sense if it's a smaller role who then gets killed. It's like a fun thing versus a new legacy captain, etc.
Brian Donaldson throws in $10. Oh, thanks so much.
Yes.
This was my favorite episode so far. Really liking how tough the Titan is turning out to be. She's getting her ass. Worf and Raffi are really growing on me as well. Yes. That storyline is coming together very nicely.
And it's tricky with the way they do CG now when it comes to space battles, because every torpedo ends in a fireball, and even though it's hitting the shield, it also makes sparks fly on the inside heavily, so it's hard to know what damage really is, because everything looks like damage just by... In normal Trek, you would say, shield's down to 85%, 65%, and then once you get to almost nothing, then the sparks come, then you know you're in danger. But because you have sparks and explosions, did they get through the hull in that final blast with the 4 torpedoes? I don't know. There were explosions at all times. There were also shields at all times. It's kind of impossible to visually tell. So, it's a bit confusing. I kind of wish they stuck with more just shield impacts. And then when the shields went down, you felt the impacts. Because there's just, everything feels like something, which means nothing feels like anything. Because clearly it's able to take a lot of hits, but that means not very strong hits. Yeah.
This Jericho says Riker is clearly a founder. He would never talk to Picard like that. He's not. I'm calling it right now. He's suffering from some PTSD. He lost his kid. He's helping his friend who said, he told his friend, I hope one day you can feel what it's like to be a parent. That's what the whole episode was about. The 17 seconds in the turbo lift for Riker and Picard, and that moment they became a father. And Picard wants nothing to do with his kid. He says it's irreparable, and Riker's just kind of pissed at Picard right now for kind of being an asshole. It's not a changeling. I'll bet money on it.
And a very...
Oh, sorry. No, it's okay. Go
ahead. And Avery says, this isn't normal Trek? Well, no. Normal Trek is the 7 years of 7 seasons of 22 episodes per TNG, DS9 and Voyager, who set the entire visual standard for a decade. This is all new Trek, where they have 10 episodes, flashy visuals, darker things. No, it's not classic Trek. That's the whole point. It's newer Trek. It's closer to, but still not the new, Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people who are calling Riker a changeling watch the rest of the episode. I know.
I felt they probably did watch the whole episode, Stuart, and it seems like an odd note.
It wouldn't say he was a changeling, actually, all the things he said to Picard and stuff. Unless he got knocked out on the way to the bridge and thrown in a closet, and then the changeling turned into him.
Well, that's why I said to you in our other review, that last scene would make the most sense. As soon as changeling destroys the something or other, Riker goes for a pee break, guy grabs him, comes in. That last scene is the least Riker-y.
Yeah, exactly.
So that last scene could be changeling. The rest wouldn't make as much sense.
Yeah. And he didn't leave the bridge in that amount of time, so...
They could say anything.
He didn't. The only person that did was Picard. So Picard could be a changeling. They're not going to get the TNG cast together and have it be a changeling. That's just stupid. All right. Ray Ricks throws in £5. Love this episode, and Worf's intro to Raffi was epic. Chamomile tea, anyone? Yeah. SBS Guru 2000, member for 16 months at the rank of captain. Thank you so much.
Long time.
They're not going to kill him off directly after giving him that vision. Who, Jack?
Must be.
Yeah, that vision was interesting. The red door and then the branches behind Seven. We'll talk about that when we get there.
Didn't understand it whatsoever.
A few interesting theories about that, though. So. Uchanunu represent $5. Changelings turn to dust when they die. Worf's shooting of the one was the same as Beverly's, killing her intruders, and Riker commented on the ash. This is true.
I wouldn't put money on that, but it is interesting.
It is interesting, yeah. I wouldn't put money on it either, but
because also you wouldn't, if a phaser can disintegrate a changeling, you don't need that. That ruins our theory of the phaser rifle being souped up. A phaser rifle is easily enough to kill a changeling if a phaser can. But that's interesting. Why are the changeling using phasers when they could just become blobs or in the first scene they could have been bats, flew at Crusher, become people again and killed her. Changelings don't use guns.
Yeah.
Well, their gun Seems is weird. Their Jem'Hadar. But that's interesting. That's an interesting point.
T. Louise Allen, member for 6 months, says Riker and Picard, or at the rank of lieutenant, sorry. Riker and Picard are pulling a ruse. It started when Picard said to call him number one. I could buy that. Who are they trying to trick, though? You think they suspect somebody on the bridge is not who they say they are?
I mean, that would work a lot better if we had seen the Changeling guy go back onto the bridge and be like, he's been part of the bridge for the entire time. Because certainly when Beverly says trust nobody, then he goes and does the bridge stuff. So I can see him maybe saying, just so you know, everything I'm going to say today is to make the crew think we're not together. Possibly.
Could be, because it comes out and he doesn't want anything to do with Jack. He talks to Riker right away.
Yes.
He said something to him while they were walking.
Possibly.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. That would make the most nonsense.
I don't know what the ruse makes sense. And they also didn't know they're being tracked at that point, so that's before they would... Unless they were smart enough to work it out early, but... Interesting.
Bandit MD11 throws in $5. Could they be putting on an act because they are suspects of one of the crew members on the bridge? Could be.
There you go.
Could be.
It's funny, do the exact same things back to back.
Yeah.
It's possible, but I like the bridge crew, so let's not have them be changelings.
Yeah. Brian Donaldson.
Hold on, sorry, music started playing. Sorry, start again.
Oh.
Wrong tab.
Brian Donaldson, $5. This portal tech weapon is too OP in my opinion. Still, it's very cool and definitely making the battle interesting.
This is your thing to talk about, Stuart. You have thoughts on this.
I don't think it's necessarily OP. I think it might be it was at the Daystrom station. It was experimental tech that they were working on, but how successful was it? Is it only limited distance for the use of it? They were trying to develop this massive weapon that could be like super helpful in destroying planets, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, and it failed. It was only a certain size. It can only go for a certain distance. Is kind of my thinking on it. It's not important enough tech-wise. That's why it was like the thing that was stolen, which is still dangerous enough, but it's covering another theft. So yeah, I don't think it's OP really. And I think it's also stupid that it's like, oh look, a thing opening in front of us, let's just fly right into it. If the thing has a gravitational pull and actually pulls the ship into it,
that's way more dangerous.
I buy that way more, because as it was, the second time they go through it, like you can see the ship in the distance and it's like just immediately like dip down or dip this, like we saw the Titan do this earlier in the episode, like just dive. So
yes, my thoughts, I would not consider the pull tech OP, I consider it P.
It's powerful.
It's just powerful. We all live limitations. Because I don't necessarily think it's a weapon. I mean, it's a portal. A portal is useful for many other things. it's not the most useful thing weapon-wise. Like, they use it very practically, but if the Titan had jumped to warp, they would have not done it. If they'd gone to full impulse, because they obviously weren't traveling at full impulse because of a nebula, they probably couldn't have, that bolt wouldn't have fired faster than full impulse. So it's still hugely limited, and I think certainly the range is going to be the huge factor. How it links the planetary version, that's where it becomes dangerous, because that wasn't fired from space. That was.
It wasn't. Yeah, it just formed underneath.
So that's where it becomes interesting and dangerous, especially if you can, I guess, pick where the second, whichever. But I think it's P. And maybe it drains too much power. It's like the original cloaking device in Balanced Terror. It drains all other power. There's things they could do.
Yeah.
And if they're changelings, they might not care about. Maybe all power including life supports to go to it. So we don't. Yeah. Tish.
Simon Uphill, €10.
Boom.
Yes, finally some DS9 Dominion War follow-up. Hopefully we'll get to visit DS9 and some DS9 characters other than Worf returning, or Voder Jem'Hadar. Will anyone turn out to be a good changeling? I mean, it's a possibility. Sure, it was just a small faction of changelings that split and are causing the problem. So
I feel like if Renee was still alive, they might have brought him back for a brief scene at the end. But since they're changelings, you could have someone else playing Odo. And just be, I've got a new form since my 20 years of the link. You get away with that fine. Visit DS9 I think is unlikely. Because that sets precedents, dangerous precedents they have to follow, as into they build sets. So that, if we just see the outside, then you'll need to see characters come back. Otherwise that feel undersatisfying. You can't just see the station, you have to commit, if you're doing it properly. But I think definitely one character I can see coming back to talk about later specifically.
Jasper Jedi, $5. I like the Picard Riker ruse theory. The timing may be a bit weird for things, but it does better explain how rude Riker was to Picard. Yeah, especially at the end there. Yes. If you want to try to convince somebody that you're having an issue with somebody on the bridge, they did it perfectly.
Which is bad if that was just a real scene and we're like, they would never do that. But we'll discuss it.
Yeah. Shepard throws in £5.
Colonel.
7 seasons is standard? Why does Samuel think that when they could have been more seasons of TNG and DS9? Because it's the standard for Star Trek. Got TNG, Voyager, DS9 all had 7. That's kind of why it's the standard now.
Yeah, a standard is not defined by television. It's what was a standard for Trek. There were 3 sevens. So that was a standard for Trek. It defined its own standard. What do you mean? Now it's not the standard because we've had more shows that weren't 7. But
we've had 3, we've had 4, we've had 5 now.
Yeah, but for 20 years it was 7.
Yeah.
I'd love 8 for TNG or DS9, but 7 was yeah. But thanks for the £5. But that's not a comment.
Yeah. Ray Ricks, member for 11 months at the rank of lieutenant. Did Wesley just become a traveler and never speak to his mom again?
Yep.
Yep. Pretty much.
That was that was dark. That was the obvious time to say, not and lost my son, because I would definitely assume he'd go talk to her at some point. That was kind of sad, really.
SDS Guru 2000 throws in €5.
Thank you.
It was probably intended to be an alternate to warp travel, similar to the Iconium portal tech. Maybe they derived from it. Yeah, this would be an awesome alternative to warp. Just the range isn't what it was. The kind of this is interesting and useful, but let's put it in the Daystrom archives because it's not what we wanted or intended.
I mean, you'd need to be hyper long range at that point.
Exactly, yeah.
Because replacement of warp, I mean, it's more useful for cargo, a la you've got a ship in orbit and then something on the planet. You don't want to have to go through the atmosphere because it's all dangerous. So you just launch, work bees from the ship and go straight in, and they. Yeah.
Be used to enhance warp though. While at warp, you fire it ahead of you, and it jumps you another couple 100,000 kilometers or whatever. Just keep firing it.
Well, I mean, all Federation ships would need giant spikes then.
Yeah. Alex A, $2. Fire everything. There's one torpedo volley, no phasers.
Yep, that was also a little mistake.
That bugged me too. They should have been firing phasers as well. Yeah.
It happens all the time though. But you can definitely fire because you also got phase. Remember, they've got phasers, phaser strips, and phaser ball turrets. They could fire 2 sets of phasers at the same time, and torpedoes.
Assuming those are still ball turrets, because we get a close up of them and they're just a flat detail. It's red with like 2 gold flat discs on it, which don't look like ball turrets at all.
Well, Terry has said they are, but doesn't necessarily mean they translated, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, by Snorzig. Yes.
Brian Donaldson, $5. When it caught the torpedoes and shot them back at them, definitely OP. Smart as hell, though. The Shrike is effectively invincible with it. Creative. As long as they're quick enough to form it in front of the weapons that are being fired at itself, then yes. I can see some flaws with that. And it usually, you have to have a lock-on to a ship, so the torpedoes will lock on. And then once the portal forms, you just hope they lock back onto the ship. Because if you're just firing them in a straight line, hoping you hit the person, which could be the case in the nebula, as soon as you form that portal behind them, the chances of them hitting are actually not that great. Because a couple degrees off, and you're just going to miss if you're firing just in a straight line.
And we're also thinking in this one specific nebula. In 9.5 times out of 10, torpedoes are actually targeted on an enemy ship. They aren't going to hit your own ship. They're self-guided. And so the torpedoes, as soon as they come out, they would then turn, not hit their ship, and go back. Torpedoes aren't just flat, straightforward weapons. They're aimed. At least a lot of the time. Or at least trying to be aimed. Or at least they can and are normally. That's why you target. Target them and fire. And also you'd think there'd be a subroutine in their shells to say, don't let us hit our own ship. You know. Like, just a basic thing to do that. Yeah. But also, I feel like she still could have dodged.
Yeah, there's lots of things they could have done.
Yeah, it was pacing rather than... But Valor says a very kind thing. Why can't more Trek fan shows be like you guys, as I enjoy your fair views, and I find your reviews so useful and helpful. Never change guys. It was very kind.
Thank you so much.
As we always say, we get blasts on both sides for not being too harsh, not being too fair. Although this show obviously is liked by everyone, so you know you could be weird to go negative on it.
Not liked by everyone. I've seen a few people complaining online about it.
But there isn't the standard channels who are getting money on negativity, etc.
Richard Kennedy, member for 36 months at the rank of ensign. A long time.
We'll be doing this 36 months. That's what I learned from that. Jesus.
Yeah. love the it. Worf was on point. Thumbs up for Shaw. Yes.
You know what? You know this season's doing well. They are allowing tiny roles, relatively speaking, to feel meaningful. Shaw feels like a full character with only maybe 10 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
The other, LaForge, which is great, for minutes of screen time. Even the Vulcan lady, I guess she's Vulcan. She's engaging enough in what she's doing. You know, they've given you something with each of them, despite super small screen time. So very well done for them.
Even the ops guy, who looks kind of like Icheb with the forehead thing.
Yeah, I like him.
His reactions. He's more likable than anybody on the Discovery Bridge crew.
It is almost the same lines, just maybe the way they're directed, maybe it's really interesting the difference that this feels as a uniform team.
Yeah,
like Stargazer was a little bit of that, but not really, because it was really Rios and Jurati. But this team feels real, and they're all visually interesting. You got a Bajoran, you got a Vulcan who's bald, or Romulan. You could build a series regulars out of them, etc. There's something here. I think people are sensing, which is good.
And Shadow Newham, yes, we will have a video coming out about that uniform. Don't worry.
Yes. Filmed, almost edited.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, speaking of this, Stuart, the reason I don't finish videos now today is because we do fleet videos. Just re-explain them for membership peoples. Here's what you can be in, Stuart. What are they?
Yeah, when I mentioned earlier you could join the channel, this is what I was talking about. You get to see the Trekyards fleet here. Here are the many ships in it. And you get assigned to be on a ship depending on what tier you pick. And if you become captain or an admiral, you get a ship of your own. And admirals get hero ships. Captains just get a regular random ship. So there's lots of different membership perks and stuff included with that as well. But these animations at the end of every episode are a fantastic way to include you guys and have your name in lights, as it were, or on a plaque with your ship. And it's really fun. It's really fun. Considering Trekyards is a ship show, we love our ships. This is a fantastic way to include you guys and have something kind of fun. So there you go. Go click the join button.
Back to you, sorry.
SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5. I'd imagine that they intended it as an FTL method, but couldn't manage to get the required range out of it, so they shelved it. Yeah, it's kind of the feeling that I got as well. Unless that's the thing, though, because Samuel pointed this out too. You need the points on the ships. You don't have to redesign the whole fleet unless they can project it from the deflector or something. I don't know, but yeah,
it just seems a little bit possibly odd to think that you could open a portal, a million kilometers away. Like, part of its vibe is that it was connecting to local space. I know that becomes, insanely powerful. It's fine if it's a space station doing it, but that'd be such a high-end thing, because warp is very specific. FTL travel needs a lot of juice behind it.
Space Thing, The Reckoning throws in $10. I feel like some folks are gonna criticize the Changeling twist as nostalgia bait, but I love how this builds off DS9 lore. It makes sense that Odo rejoining the Link would have both good and bad effects. Yeah. Of course people are going to use that argument. Of course they are. But I've heard the same people complain like, oh my god, they could have used the conspiracy bugs, but they did this instead. Oh my god.
That's really more nostalgia bait if you
I know. They made such a... And actually, the conspiracy bugs kind of would have been nice. It would have been like... Even though I am opposed to the idea personally, it would have been... brought everything kind of full circle. Because I was like season 1 of TNG and have the TNG crew and then wrap that up. And it's kind of out of the blue. But yeah, you're going to have people complain regardless of what they do. So
yeah, and that seems very odd to me that it's so unbelievably logical that it's almost not a twist. Which shows how natural it is. Brain bugs is a weird, like, oh, okay, twist. This is like, oh yeah, obviously. Yeah, I people that want to complain that it's nostalgia bait, I feel like and I don't say this often because it seems weird to say, but it's like such a tiny thing to grab on to,
And he's used to grabbing onto tiny things, so he would know, guys. Good tea. Sorry, good chamomile tea. Nice house.
Very harsh. That was out of nowhere. When we started the back and forth bitching, and you went straight for a 3.5 out of what? No.
I went right for the jugular on that one. Yeah. Good chamomile tea. Nice house. Yeah. Throws in $5.
Thank you.
It was a great episode. I'm so glad to know Worf is still drinking good tea. Winky
yes.
Face. Yes, indeed.
And guys, thank you. We are going longer today so we can get more of your opinions and thoughts before we do the actual hardcore review bit, because this is more interactive, as we know. You guys are doing phenomenal. That's why we wanted an extra hour. Lots of things to talk about, so keep it up. We'll start the full review when you guys have said your piece, but we love the sort of overall stuff early. It's great.
All right. Ray Ricks, though, throws in £2. Maybe trying to recreate Iconian tech. Sure. Portal tech.
I've said before, I love the Iconian idea, but once you do them, they're done. And they're such a fun species to potentially do. I like them being limited to gateways on the... Well, I say that, but did the other thing. Ignore me. Maybe.
I'm just going to ignore you. I was going to ignore you before you told me to ignore you. Go play with your little thing. Verpine.
Oh, wait, no. No, you know what I do have? A little thing. Hold on. Yes, I do. Because it's a tiny phaser.
That was in the episode.
Ha! You're wrong, Stuart. I can play my little thing. I can stroke its ribbing. I can grab the head. I can pull on it. I can. I can take it off. Apparently.
This is not after hours. We can't be too rude.
No, it's before hours actually.
Exactly. So you got to be. Did you break it?
No, it's just so like specific to how many like centimeters you have to pull out. There you go. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Anyway, Verpine, $5. The actress playing Lieutenant Tavine has said her character is a Vulcan-Deltan hybrid. Oh, that explains the baldness. All right.
Perfect.
Cool. I like that.
But
that's fantastic.
Is her oath of celibacy on record, or does she like to?
No, her oath. Well, it would be different for her because it's part Vulcan. The Ponfar is only 7 years.
Her oath of Ponfar is on record.
Yeah, the oath of
Saleya.
Ponfar.
Oath of Saleya.
It only has to be on record and updated every 6 years, though. Just to make sure for the next year, right?
That's great.
Bandit MD11 throws in $2. Per Dave Cullen, someone big is behind the red door.
I mean, Dominion are pretty big.
Yep.
Jason, yeah, we don't. The algorithm does not like us. That's been a thing for years now. Years and years.
Well, we're trying to work on that, though.
Indeed. Past tense.
We're working on it.
So, Stuart, what do you think of Season 3, Episode 3, and in watching Extra as our first reaction, how have you felt? Let me know.
I think it is one of my favorite so far of this season. I thought it was my second favorite, but the more I watch it, I do enjoy it. I love the pacing of it. I love that it's 55 minutes long. First of all, it's fantastic right out of the gate. But the pacing makes it feel like it's not 55 minutes. It's very dense with dialogue and things going on, and we've got some really cool space battles as well. And yes, we got a reveal or two, and some answers, which I like. We're kind of moving along. The only issue I have is there's still a fucking nebula, and the nebula is ugly. It's an ugly color. I'm sick of it already. And like we kind of joked when we did our other review. It's like, oh, in season 2, they're in the past. They'll only be in the past for 2 or 3 episodes, hopefully. Then
I mean, 5 maximum wouldn't make any sense anymore.
Exactly. Nope, the entire goddamn thing, pretty much. So I'm just hoping that's not going to happen here. I don't think it will. I think they got a lot to do in season 3, so they're going to get out of this next episode. But I mean, last time we predicted this episode they'd be out of the nebula within 15 minutes of the episode. So, and now with them spiraling towards this gravity well, who knows what's going to happen there? I have a few theories about what could happen, but anyway. So yeah, I really like this one. I think it is probably my favorite. I need to go back and watch episode 2 again. I mean, they've all got some really great stuff in them, but I think this one just as a whole feels like a really good piece of Star Trek for me. But that's me. So yeah, so there you go. What are your thoughts on it?
So as we always say, and this was definitely a factor in Prodigy, especially in that the first time you watch something, it's the what could happen. You'll think you've got nice expectations, but you've got all these could be X, could be Y, could be big and bold. And when Prodigy was, not jumping as far ahead story-wise as we hoped, it often felt underwhelming the first watch. First time I watched this episode, as I said to you obviously yesterday, you could summarize what happened in like 20 seconds, right? Nothing actually really happens in the big sense. They're in the nebula, they're still fighting the thing, they try to escape, they don't escape, they go in further, and Raffi and Worf do this continue. But that's not the point. This season isn't about big things, it's about people. And so when you know that nothing really is going to happen, story big wise, it's only about the scenes, then obviously you know what to expect the second time, right? And you accept that they're not going to leave the nebula because who cares? It's not about the nebula, right? At least this episode, they're just there to Mutara it up. They're just there to pause, right? It's just
the interesting thing is it's not actually just a nebula. It's like some weird anomaly that's never been seen before,
which is definitely interesting. But I left the episode thinking we're 33% through, and is this all that's happened? So, like story-wise. But then you look at character-wise, a ton's happened. Every episode of Giant Reveal. So it's an interesting mixed bag of priorities. So second time round, again, Frakes nailing Riker. Great. Seeing him zone in, because he was having fun. In the first episode as a buddy. Second episode as a backup. Third episode, he has been captain of the Titans. We've never seen before, actually, practically, without talking about jazz musicians, right? So, he was nailing it as captain. Extremely defensive, as in, his strategy, which is not how I associate Riker being. Overly cautious. And then Patrick, of course, was saying overly attacking. And it's like, do you know how few weapons you have, Picard? You know how their shields probably will be able to take 6 torpedoes, no problem. There's definitely a lack of strategy involved in this episode, but they're reacting, aren't they? The whole thing takes place in an hour, right? So it's very short. Michael Jordan's Worf, nailing it is an understatement. I was kind of shocked, especially the second time. How many things like he, building his eyes up a bit more and just looking I think this, and then little things that are just I don't know if he rewatched his performance at all, but because he was barely in Nemesis, right? Insurrection was having fun, and then First Contact he was being warrior. So DS9 was where he got to really act, and he was absolutely giving it a lot. And having only Raffi and Worf together gives him a lot of dialogue, which is phenomenal because he does he's a golden boy, right? Of quality, comedy, drama, content, phenomenal. So he was very, very good. Raffi, like last 2 episodes, a lot of repeating. She repeated her mission to him for a third time.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of her dialogue was the exact same as last week. Now, when they got into new stuff, a la the last 6 minutes of their stuff, it was all great, right? I just wish we'd skipped most of her dialogue. His stuff was all fantastic.
Yeah.
So hopefully now we'll do new stuff, right? We'll go to Daystream, we'll do something. We've got the duo, right? Setup is done. Phenomenal. So that's good. That was really good. Changingville was excellent, although the effect was certainly a step back from DS9. But hopefully there's a reason for that. We have thoughts. We've already discussed it. We'll do it more as well. That's all great. Beverly, great. Can't falter.
She was really good in this episode. She seemed like her, which was great.
Yeah.
Like I said in the lead up to this, the promotional stuff in the interviews, she just did not come across strong at all. In the first episode, I didn't even really like her performance. But this one, she nailed it for me. So yes, kudos to her for that.
Yeah, and it was, this second time I watched it and I paused after the talk in sickbay and sort of took it in for a second, saying we just had 20 minutes of this episode, right? And it was entirely Picard, Riker, and Beverly. And considering that a couple of years ago they were asked, would you come back? And there was a sense of, no, Kurtzman wouldn't bring back old legacies. And here we are with about half the episode, which is a whole Low Decks episode, with just our legends talking. That's brilliant. And then Worf comes in and do we miss, Jurati? Do we miss Elnor when we're having Worf scenes that are very good? Do you know what I mean? Well, exactly. It feels so filled with that stuff, but it's almost normal now. That's the irony. Yeah. They've all walked back into their characters and functionally into the story, which is great. They see Beverly being a good doctor is wonderful to see. It feels like no time has passed. And honestly, don't you just think that why weren't they rehired 6 years ago to make more stories when they were just a bit younger? They could play it off a bit more. And why? And they're all doing well. They should all be hired again. Clearly, they could all reprise as series regulars. I have no doubt. Yeah. Worf, bloody hell, he could do a whole thing. So that was super interesting to see these things play the second time. The space CG was very samey, but the portal stuff was great. Really, really, really fun. I'm sad Vadik got nothing. Thaya. Again. I wanted more dialogue from her because she was fun last time, but whatever, that's fine. And now
I'm actually on the opposite there. I think the subtlety of her performance.
Oh no, I just meant more lines. The performance was fine.
Yeah.
Just
but I think
yeah,
I think the subtlety added to her character, but not the over the top. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. She had 30 seconds of screen time. It was great. I just wanted 2 to 6 minutes. That's what I mean. I just wanted more of her in general. A lot more questions, because once you go Dominion or Changeling, the scale jumps, and my favourite twist is probably the weapon being a red herring, and literally red herring inside the show as well as the audience. That's great. So it's a lot of small good things, while a story that was sort of running in place a bit, but good talkings at the same time. There you go, Stuart. What do you guys think?
Very good. We got some super chats. So Trickle Power throws in $5. Why isn't anyone talking about the photonic activity mentioned in episode 2 when they scanned the Shrike? Might be a bigger item stolen.
We did mention it last time where there could be fake weapon signatures. So
yeah, that was mentioned. Taylor T, $20. I'm loving Shaw more and more as time goes on. He genuinely is thinking of his crew first and foremost. Yeah, I've like saw Shaw since beat 1, so I'm glad that people are kind of warming up to that. I appreciate the guy. Hopefully he survives the season.
Yeah. Well, with him, they're saying, right, you have 6 lines. Let's make 3 cool. Let's make 3 functional, but like really characterful of the 3.
Yeah.
Like they're probably a bit too modern. Throwing shit at me is not really something that 92% of captains would say, but it works for him in this one context. So.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, that's kind of like how I would be as a captain. I mean, that's why I like him so much, because it's the same attitude I would have. But yeah. Let's see. Jasper Jedi, $5. If Riker and Picard are performing a ruse, it reminds me of the episode Allegiance, trapping the aliens in a force field without any verbal communication. Yeah, absolutely. That's way more likely than Riker being a changeling. So, yeah. Vadwanu throws in $5. Just for support. Great job, guys. Thanks. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Amazing.
And T. Louise Allen throws in $2. Are Vadic and the Changelings working together? Yes, it's very obvious, I think. Sabotaging the ship so that they can track them. Yeah, I don't think Vadic is a Changeling. Her henchman might be, but I kind of even doubt that. I just think that they're working for the Changelings. So yeah.
Well, the fact that it's vague is actually quite interesting. Season 1 had all these plot threads that felt like they were going to go somewhere and didn't. This all feels like, that's going to be... There's a line that's being drawn, and it'll be an interesting twist. Or just...
Yeah, we had a whole live talk about the plot lines that went nowhere with Season 1. There was so many good ones that could have gone somewhere and just fizzled out. So,
but at least they had Roman strike forces that thought a bag could knock someone out by putting their head in a bag. The smartest of agents.
Andre Benson, $5. Questions.
Yes.
Does anyone think that was a changeling watching Riker and Picard at the bar in episode 1? Yes, I totally do. Yeah.
It'd have to be.
Yeah.
And yes, just right, exactly. Right, I'm going to end the poll as well, because that was the first poll a lot of you guys here. 233 votes. What's been the best episode of the season so far? I mean, a not even remotely close 73% this episode 3, with both episodes 2 and 1 being back-to-back 14 and 13% respectively. That is striking, Stuart. What's a new poll?
Yes, and Samuel Gill, sorry to hear that. You have our condolences. Glad you could make it, though. Samuel Gill is a friend of mine online for a long time now, and his dad just passed away. So
I'm so sorry.
Sorry to hear that.
Hopefully we can take your mind off it, or don't listen to us and do something more real. Whatever helps.
Yeah, but thanks for showing up, and yes, sorry to hear that. All right, 224 of you here, which is amazing. 106 likes, also amazing. We're off to a fantastic start today. So by all means, hit that like button if you haven't. I want to get up to 180. We're going to set the goal at 180 likes. You can easily do that right now, so please do so. Also consider subscribing if you're not, and clicking the notification bell icon so you don't miss our breakdown videos and our lives that we do all the time. We really like chatting with you guys about this stuff, so please join our community and consider clicking that join button.
And even though we know that looking at the phases and the corridors and transport rooms aren't going to be hugely viewed because it's quite niche stuff, you guys value it, and that's why we do it for the ship nerds and the tech nerds out there that really do care. And you guys support us in these lives, allow us to make that content that we know isn't for most people, because you guys aren't most people, and we know that Dave Blass and the team look at our stuff a lot of the time. So we want to do it for you guys, and also your super chat, super thanks, etc. make all of the darn difference.
That's right.
Yeah.
New poll, I guess.
Yes.
Let's see what the poll is, and you can go vote in that. Is Riker a changeling at any point in the 3 episodes? Yes or no?
Yeah.
That's a great one. Trickle Power throws in $5.
Thank you.
Photonic activity, knowing that Moriarty is in the season has to mean something. Chekhov's gun, you know? Ooh, interesting. Yeah. Could Moriarty be on the Shrike? Ooh, could that be part of the stolen tech? Ooh, who's to say?
Well, it depends if it's all actually after Picard, or if it's after Jack, or what Jack knows, or they've kind of retwisted the knife as to which theory. Are you is Jack really it, or is it all about Picard, etc.? Hard to know. Well, I still felt weird this time, thinking you named your new son after your ex-dead husband. Oh, so a little bit sad. Still, it's fine, just a little bit sad.
Brandon 3G throws in $5.
Thank you.
You guys are great. My favorite Shaw order to date. Send somebody down to look out the goddamn window. Yeah, that's something that should have been done a few times in Star Trek when they ran out of sensors and stuff. I mean, Geordi once went down to 10 forward to look at the one anomaly with his visor through the window. But yeah, it should be a thing that happens occasionally, especially in situations like that with no sensors.
Yeah, I mean, rarely you have nebulas where that's a problem, but when it is, yes. And I've got to give them credit because every other Trek show, give or take, has a window, but the view screen was, which wouldn't be happening if it was a window. So it's definitely a view screen. There's not even a question. So yay, which could have been a plot point, ironically. Oh no, a view screen. If only we had a window. Ironically, the one time they could have.
That would have been funny.
Yeah.
Ray Ricks, £5. Fun mystery box now. What was stolen? Lore? Moriarty? Will leave me guessing for a whole week. I'm guessing the weapon is probably Lore.
Because weapon.
He's probably the most dangerous.
Weapon is what's making you think gun. It's not a gun.
Yeah. I mean, Moriarty is ostensibly a computer program, right? Like, so he could be used to infiltrate enemy systems or something as well. So that could also be a weapon. I mean,
boy, if he was used by Starfleet Intelligence in the Dominion War, if you want to add to the canon, this crazy level of access, and it became too powerful and yeah, exactly.
T. Louise Allen, $2. I think Moriarty is in the gravity well.
No. I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree as well.
Yeah. Funny though, you made me laugh. Thank you.
King of Ice, huge, throws in $5. I would rather see Special or Species 8472 than the Changelings.
Both.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have preferences. Like, I did not want to see the butt bugs again, the bluegills, the conspiracy aliens, whatever you want to call them. I didn't want to see them again. But now, it would have been a nice kind of, like I said, circuitous route to just close up the TNG thing. But
you know what's funny, Stuart? We know for a fact that the Dominion War was an inside job. It was all a conspiracy. So will that come out here? That's a deep cut reference, wasn't it? If you don't get it, that's okay.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. So, Stuart, we start off with the battle is being pursued relatively easily, and we get that great shot straight out the trailer, which, unlike the first episode where everything we saw was in the trailer, everything's fresh feeling. Like, these are new shots, which I appreciate, give or take. But the way they present this it's super easy. There's
fairly inconvenient.
I mean, there's no chance to try to keep up with them, shooting them, no stress, right? It kind of shows that there was obviously no plan.
And yet later they're flying away from the Shrike doing this, and just boom, 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 getting hit repeatedly by the Shrike, which is looking pretty brutal. So,
yes.
And then we jump into the ship, and there's people injured, and this guy in sickbay looks at Jack and says, "This is your fault." The most un-Starfleet thing I've ever heard in my goddamn life, and I hated it. It reminded me of Discovery. It reminded me of Picard Season 1. I get it. You're upset because you don't know who this person is on your ship, but that's what Starfleet is there for, to rescue people. They don't know this person doesn't know the story that the ship got hijacked. Essentially,
can you imagine every single refugee situation, and there's these poor children that are walking by? It's like, look what you made us do. Every refugee, very un-Starfleet. I mean,
I hated that part.
Looks are fine. People often look without meaning. This cut, I would have taken that straight out.
Yeah, we get the looks later, but even those are kind of accusatory and a little bit too much.
Yeah, can't. Yeah. But no, that edit would have taken that straight out.
Yeah. Then we get, Shaw doing his thing, barking orders and doing a really good job. I love how he's standing, being a captain. That bridge is huge, though.
Yep.
Compared to the Enterprise D bridge.
It is probably bigger than Discovery's bridge. Luckily, it's more filled with stuff. Yeah. But it's a giant over the top.
This is where he orders somebody to go down and look out the goddamn windows.
Yep. Now, I do think, though, that this first bit, they're so defensive in their tactics that there's not even a slight plan. They're just moving forward, trying not to get hit. Like in Voyager, you wouldn't have that for more than 10 seconds, or someone throw out a plan or an idea or a maneuver. There's a real lack of dynamic for this first bit. It's just a case of just keep evasive maneuvering while we get more injured. Everyone keep thinking silently while we keep getting more injured. Like there's a lack of try doing this and try doing that. Oh, it's failed, sir. Like there needed to be a bit more of that dynamic, suggestion-ness.
And Picard here says if she wanted to destroy us, she could have. She's playing with it. She's pecking away at us until we surrender, much like a shrike would, the bird.
Yeah.
Now, there's a few instances in this episode where I thought it'd be really cool because you see the doors are open behind them. You got the briefing room. You can see behind the ship. Mm-hmm. It'd be cool to see the Shrek behind them doing this while they're looking at the view screen. Yes, they're watching.
Yeah.
It would have been really great. And there's a few instances they could have done that and they didn't. You can see right out those windows. It would have been beautiful.
Yes. But then we get a great dive. I wish we had a couple more shots in the episode of
maneuvering.
Yes, maneuvering, because it feels like they keep pausing and hiding. But then I watched a second time, and the way they talk to LaForge is keep maneuvering, but it feels like when they find a place, they stop. Then they get found. But if they're always moving, it makes it a lot harder to get found. So there's a slight disconnect for me of visuals.
Yes, absolutely. Jonathan Davies throws in 2 pounds.
Thank you.
Are the photonic readings possibly Moriarty? Yes. Well, also, trickle power has mentioned it, so
yes,
could be.
And also, how does We Lost in the Nebula work if they can scan for their engines? They were right in front of you. You just turn on those sensors; they're still in front of you. Yeah. It doesn't make sense, really. I guess they could have. No, they did. They already sabotaged it because they found them earlier in the scene, in the last episode. So they've already been pre-sabotaged. Basically, here's we need to have an epic scene and then now an epic break. Reasons. Structurally, that's what it is.
SBS Guru, 2,005 euros. Do you think species 8472 could infect a changeling?
Define infect.
Yeah. It's like the Borg. Can the Borg, assimilate a changeling? I don't think so.
It's
honestly
too different on biology.
Yeah. Anyway, then we get the before time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the DH sequence and the ugliest uniform in Starfleet history.
I mean, it's lovely to see this guy back.
Yes. It just should have been on a first contact uniform, though.
Yep. Because, guys, this is the same year of Lower Deck Season 2. So Riker is on the Titan in that uniform weeks or months ago. Also with no grey in his beard. What did you guys think of this scene? And why is there no one else in Guinan's bar?
Yeah, that's a good question.
They rent Guinan's bar.
This is closed for the day.
And this could have been a scene with Whoopi in it,
Yeah.
Imagine if she walked in and said, need a refill. This would have been a great moment to have Whoopi in.
Well, it was a good moment, the talking about becoming a father, and the 17 seconds, that's where the episode title comes from. Longest 17-second turbolift ride of his life. And that's the moment you became a father. It's like, yes. The back and forth is really good. I do like it.
That's how I remember.
And the irony is, this is when Beverly was pregnant at this moment. Like, Picard would have been a father at any moment now.
Yes.
So, and the only thing I hate about, well, I hate a lot about this scene, but honestly, when Deanna shows up and she's just super bitch. Sounds more like Marina Sirtis than
She
Deanna.
just had a baby, like, this week.
Doesn't matter. I've been with women that have just had babies. It's just she comes across really, really harsh. And then, yes, Amzadi, I'll be right there. Bring the whiskey. What doesn't he take with him when he leaves? He had one job. He didn't even grab the whiskey bottle.
Wiz, because he gave Picard the weak shit. She meant the real Betazoid whiskey.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. He'll get it. He'll get it from Garner's secret stash. I mean, elephant in the room. Then the de-aging. Tell us your. Obviously, we've had this debate already. Riker first, and I'll also do my because I have a lot of experience, so I have some thoughts.
Yeah, Riker's not too bad. You kind of convinced me after we talked about it. I didn't like him at first because I thought the hair looked atrocious, considering what it used to be. But this is 2 years after we last saw him.
And you saw my comparison shots, etc.
Yeah, and my hair looks way different than when we talked about this yesterday, Samuel. So hairstyles change. The beard didn't quite look quite right either with the graying in it, and I just kind of thought it looked off. He looks way better now that we've talked about it, and compared to Picard, Picard looks plastic and fake. There's like too smooth a skin. I compared it to like the X-Men where he got de-aged like late 2000, like 2008, 2009, something like that. Anyway, regardless, it's not much better than that. And yes, the lighting is dark in the bar because everything's dark in the show. It just didn't work for me. That's just my opinion. But Vad didn't really need as much de-aging.
But Vad says he'll pick up some chocolate ice cream on the way to smooth things over with Deanna.
Yes.
Yes.
Whiskey-covered chocolate ice cream.
Oh, there you go. So my thoughts in general, I really, really appreciated this scene for many reasons. Of course, I wish Patrick could have the voice he would have had 20 years ago because he can't be young if he just... right, okay. So that obviously pulls you... It doesn't matter about his face. He's not acting as he was going to then. But it's lovely to see him being happy. He's really genuinely happy. I think both of them feel... give or take Nemesis them, obviously post a traumatic event, but they that's nice they could still do that versus like he doesn't feel like Captain Riker in the modern day. So that's all Frakes' acting. And considering he's directing this episode, he's directing himself to be digitally de-aged, to be younger. And that's hard to do. I think they did a really good job with Riker. Clearly digital, but I also know what to look for. And it's a face. Face are the hardest thing to do because it's what you see. You can pretty much see the digital relighting because it's just not... I can see it, but it's...
Oh. Yeah. I was just going to say, we have a full episode coming out talking about this specifically. Now, the second time, did you notice the hand? Because as I pointed out, they de-aged his face, but not his hand, and it pulled me out of it instantly.
Kind of, but I wasn't paying attention to Patrick's hands in 2006 either.
No,
so.
Not Patrick's hands. It was Frakes'
hands.
Oh, Patrick's hands look fine. It was Frakes' hands in the scene where he lifts up the glass early on.
Oh, right. I thought you meant... Oh,
no,
okay.
no, not Patrick.
I was looking at Patrick's hands after you said it.
Nope.
Oh. But I thought they were both good acting-wise. Like I say, I love de-aging. It's so creative to do. Frakes is pretty good. The uniform's absolutely atrocious. Should have been just normal uniform. They've already had them in season 1 with the Brent stuff. Patrick isn't good, but it's acceptable. But that's a low bar for the hero of your story. Acceptable, right? And they did much better in season 1. That was a really good de-age in the scene with Raffi, the reshoot. Exceptional. It was so subtle, but clearly much younger. You can tell they shot it to be dramatic with the two-star lighting. And I'm writing this up. And that makes it harder to do, because of course there's less detail in the blacks to de-age because you can't even see the wrinkles. So you're having to sort of fake a lot more. I think they probably digitally raised the brightness on this side of his face and then de-aged it and then brought it back down again, which makes it even more fake.
Like I said, we have a whole video talking about this. We don't have to go into detail on that.
But we've got people here
today
who are going to have thoughts.
I know, but they can also check out the other video because that's like totally about the de-aging.
Yes.
Speaking of, I sent you a picture which should illustrate my point. on Facebook.
Thank you.
So just take a look at that real quick.
But I want more of these scenes, and the fact that we had a scene like this implies we might have more. And you know, for me, this is clearly a digitally dyed hair, as weird as that sounds. Unless they shot it way later, I think it's digital dark hair, like with John Delancey. That's all digital, which is why it all looks a bit, because I think it's all digital. But that means they could do the same thing with LeVar. No, I'm really excited. They threw it in so casually, and yeah, 17 seconds. Didn't even realize that was what it was doing later, but now I saw it. That was nice.
I even timed the scene later with him in the turbo lift, and it's just about 18.5 seconds, but they kind of got it close.
No, I thought that was lovely, and I appreciated seeing Patrick's sadness, because in theory this is either right around losing Beverly or right before losing Beverly. So if he just lost Beverly for the 5th time, then you know, although him having the thought of having children at this age, even this de-aged age, is quite ambitious. Well, I'm 75, time to start having kids, but you know.
And then, yes, we started an hour early. We're going to be starting an hour early for most of these this season, I think, because there's going to be a lot to talk about. So,
And I thought Deanna was lovely, but I was shocked that she was just Marina's voice. She did very good in season 1, and this was entirely Marina. Like,
even the attitude and what she was saying, I think, it wasn't Deanna at all.
No, I was kind of shocked. I get she's hormonal, having just given birth, and she's much younger, but I was like, could you at least do the voice? I was kind of shocked. Because she was really good in season 1. She was just being Marina Sirtis here.
Yeah. SGS Guru 2000 throws in €5.
Thank you.
What they did to poor dumb Harry. Incredibly aggressive biology that could even destroy Borg nanoprobes. They did to poor dumb Harry. Harry who?
When Harry got attacked by 8472, I think.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I don't know if that would apply towards a Changeling. Sorry.
Oh, and Chris says, it's good to see Picard with a friend instead of by himself at the chateau. Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think of the DH? Let us know. But yes, back to present day. Another lingering space shot of the Titan. They are not... They're not hiding the ship. They're not hiding the design. They're like... 3 more seconds. Add 3 more seconds. Keep going. 10 more seconds. It's great.
And this is where you can see the ball turrets that aren't ball turrets, because they just look like little pips, gold pips on a red square. When a certain angle, it's like they're not ball turrets.
Trying to be ball turrets.
I know they are. But just...
Also, wasn't it weird? This whole the corridor with the windows. They use a super wide angle to make it look weird. That was an odd choice.
Yeah. And then Mr. Changeling guy's there, and he kind of just...
Shut up!
Yeah. No visuals on the straight.
He's so rude. Oh, I love it. I mean, the thing is, now you know he's a Changeling, I can see it with Odo in his face. There's a certain Rene Aubergenois there. I'm just saying.
Then we get a flare-up on the bridge of lights, energy surge from the nebula. Electrical and biological signatures. Like, oh, well, that's fun. Anyone else want to throw more weird shit at me? Anyway, and then oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, a bit of a coincidence, because obviously Bev didn't know they were going here for this. It would be kind of nice if this was the plan, etc. But yes, certainly going to mean something.
And then he says, you pulled a 36-hour watch, you're relieved. So even though they're in the middle of something right now, he's like, you guys have been on duty for 36 hours. Get the hell out of here. I like that.
See, I thought he said both times, you're about to be on a 36-hour watch, go get some rest. I thought that was, like, take 5 hours because we're fine, come back for a long shift.
He said, you just pulled a 36-hour watch. You're relieved.
Oh, okay.
Get some rest while you can. Yeah.
Entirely unnecessary, but nice. Yeah, good for them to be doing.
And then we get 7
doing something. Looks like a candle holder to me.
Yeah, I hate those things on her fingers too. You never really notice them that much. They just seem like ugh. And then she's got a little thing of Voyager in her quarters, which is cute.
Yes, it is. Bit of chrome. And I had the most annoying comment ever from somebody who said, "What do they say? It's Voyager? Could be any Intrepid class."
Yeah, you're 100% right there, bud.
Literally.
Intrepid class. Wow. Do I have to explain why that's stupid to anyone in the audience right now?
God, let us know right now. Did you just laugh in the chat? Because it was so ludicrous that it made me smile when I first read it. It was a totally serious comment.
It wouldn't make me smile. It would make me rage. So I'm glad you smiled at that. Your telling of it is funny, though.
I know. Just.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5. Wonder what's at the center of the nebula. Maybe another god that wants to share his pain. Share your pain.
Oh, what a callback. It's bloody Jesus again. Oh, God. Or it's Cyborg. He merged with God and now he's in the nebula.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're going to hire the Cyborg actor from Strange World Season 2. And it all connects.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Well, people are agreeing. It's hilarious. So
I was blown away. But Stuart, I'm blown away by ads. Are you blown away by ads?
No, but I'm going to be in a second.
Let's find out.
Perfect. Yes. 254 of you here, which is amazing. 143 likes. We're not at 150 yet, even though I set the goal at 180.
Oh.
So go, guys. Hit that like button.
I mean, I want to see 160 right now. 160 right now. But Stuart with 196 votes as well on the poll. I asked you all, is Riker a changeling at any point so far in the season? What does it say, Stuart?
72% say no, and I'm so happy about that because I heard so many people saying that in my chat last night.
Yep.
I was getting very frustrated.
Apparently, a very vocal minority people who think this. I'm guessing
that's usually how it is.
There you go.
Minority is the vocal one. Yeah.
New poll.
Yes, new poll. So, guys, like I said, hit that like button. We want to get to 180. We're almost there, so please do it. Make sure you're subscribed, notified, all that, and click the join button to look at your options to join our fleet. Lots of different ranks available. You can help us out on a monthly basis, which means a great deal to us. And actually really helps out with the algorithm because you guys showing interest in the channel. That's important for YouTube. So, Sergeant Montgomery with $2. For God's sakes, man, why is 7 not on the bridge? Well, she was relieved of duty for insubordination by Shaw. Which last episode he's like, well, you might be working towards getting, because she fetched anyway. And yeah, once Shaw got out of commission, Riker should have overrode those orders and got 7 back on the bridge because this is her ship, essentially. Should have had her back on the bridge. I don't agree with it. The orders still stand. Military-wise, maybe, but in the situation they're in, I'd want her on the bridge.
I mean, I just feel like he forgot. Honestly, as simple as that. He just forgot she was on the ship. If we're to believe the time frame of the show, they only walked for a few hours the edge of the galaxy or the edge of the space, and then he only did with them once, went to bed. Then the situation happened. Realistically, it was like 4 days minimum, and they were hanging out maybe. But obviously, she had to be there.
I really like that 7.
Oh,
you can see that's a Picard. So
I don't think for a second he would think I'm going to let Shaw bench an ex-Borg, very talented scientist / commander who knows the crew, but we need her in the B plot, or the C plot. I mean, she was definitely sidelined this week. I can imagine Jerry saying, last year I got to be human-y, I got to be in party dresses and fire phases, and now I'm just saying things in uniform. Like, it feels more like 7, but if they don't give her anything to do, anyone could do the role. But also, don't force these characters in their roles either. Like Jack, he's barely in it, but he's very functional. Like, it works. You know what I mean? There's a. I'm sure she'll be a lot more later. Now that Shaw's off, I'm sure she'll be on the bridge probably next week, etc. Yeah. Thanks, Colin.
Dan says a few lines of dialogue in this episode which confused me is when he said about being followed and Beverly and Picard on the Enterprise.
Yeah, that's the Riemann assassins. We'll get to that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But read the poll, though, Stuart.
I thought he was talking about I watched you get cooked up for a decade before you even, which is gross, by the way. Anyway, the new poll is, okay, come on, open the goddamn poll. There we go. What did you think of the de-aging? Looked good, looked bad, it was okay. I'm just happy they're doing it. It's the wrong there, but that's okay.
Theirs are meaningless to me. I hate them.
Well, they're very important, actually. And they're very easy to figure out. It'll take me 2 minutes to explain it to you, and it makes sense to you, but regardless.
So anyway, LaForge is great. You know, the idea of, everyone thought I'd be an engineer. I picked pilot. Everyone judged me. Yeah, obvious, good. She doesn't wear it like she's been persecuted. It's just a thing about her life that she overcome. Right? That's how you play those sorts of scenes. It's that Roddenberry drama, but still being positive. If she was like, everyone hated me in the academy, no, this is good. This is nice. This works. Good for her.
So you're justified in your decision, even though Shaw thinks helping your friends was a stupid idea. I disagree. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, it all depends on what happens. If she killed the ship, I don't know if LaForge would quite be on her side. If the hero's trying to be Changeling, she might not be as it's all situational, Yes.
No,
oh yeah, and Joel. Yeah, Geordie was a pilot. I mean, he for a bit, which is why I think it makes a lot of sense that the Forge would have both piloting and engineering skill.
Yeah.
Because he did because he did one of the saucer reintegrations. The first one.
He was a pilot in the first season.
Yeah.
So.
And Riker took the helm, but I mean, Geordie pressed the buttons.
Yeah.
With the computer did it automatically. But you know what I mean. He was in the chair.
Yeah. Then we get sickbay, and Dr. Oak is a bitch. Doesn't want Beverly to help. It would take me longer to explain to you how everything's changed in the last 20 years than do myself. But thank you. Well, F off. Really nice. Really nice.
Put it this way, she's not a joined Trill, because she wouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
She would know that 20 years means nothing in the grand scheme of her entire life. I like the actress's vibe, like the look, a lot. So I'm a bit biased. But she, for me, was just channeling Andy Dick from Voyager. Because you're remotely out of date, my sickbay. But you can imagine, this woman has been doing medicine longer than you've been alive.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that did not come across in how she was doing it, but I imagine that's the subtext of, here you are, taking over my sickbay. But it's like saying, is the Nemesis phaser 1,000 times more powerful than the TNG Season 1 phaser? No, they're both 23rd century phasers. Medical technology has not changed much in 20 years. Are you joking? Someone falling her in their ribs, she knew how to fix it on the E.
Yeah.
You crazy Trill. Don't be all high and mighty.
Yeah.
You're wrong here. Just
Carlin Morris. Yeah. Will be old over there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He'll be old over. And it's not Oak spelled that way. It's actually OHKS. It's a weird way to spell Oaks, but yeah.
And Django, yeah. You could have brought an EMH in the scene. You could have
They
Picardo.
should have been, because there were casualties.
Oh, yeah. That would have been Andy Dick or Rob Picardo. And no fan service. Just like...
Please no Andy Dick. You don't need Andy Dick back to ever.
He's great.
So
he was great in this episode. But just the idea, they don't even mention that it's Robert Picardo. Of course, everyone uses the EMHs. No love letter. He's just there doing... He just, walks off and just does medical. No scene with him. He's just a tool. I love it. Oh, yeah. That'd be... I mean, they're obviously... Or Alexander Sindig playing EMH Mark III. Same thing. He's... Nature of medical emergency. We're under attack. Go solve him. Yes, Commander. Wow, that was a... He got paid £10,000 for being on screen for 3 seconds. EMH Mark III. Love
it. Charles June throws in $5.
Thank you.
Hello, Cap and Commander. Thank you for all the great content. Well, thank you for watching it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it, Charles. Hopefully you like uniforms and de-aging, because that's what we're looking at this week. As well as, guys, tomorrow we have the Ilios full breakdown. really in depth compared to what we did last week because new stuff arrived as soon as we finished, almost the same day, including the Proto one, the TNG era one. Nice, clear renders from Doug and from Dave, and a really nice breakdown. You'll learn lots in that one, so check that out. And we had a lot of fun because we don't try and talk about it before the thing comes out, but we worked out some theories of why it might be designed that way, etc. There's some fun stuff.
SVF Bureau 2000 throws in €5. By the time the Zimmerman type were all slaving away in the mines, or by that time all the Zimmerman types were slaving away in the mines. I don't think that lasted though. Yeah.
And I can honestly imagine that because the Doctor likes medical, other EMHs would say, I want to be a doctor to be like Bob. So they would actually come back and be medical people because they want to be. You know, like an apology to the EMHs to bring them back as doctors, but like sentient. I mean, obviously I would want, you know, a new EMH, but you could justify, I think, fine. Especially as, isn't First Contact before Prometheus? Or after Prometheus?
I'm not sure.
Because the flagship still uses the MH Mark 1, you know. Well, was prototype. Anyway, sorry, hello, yes.
Yes, let me get the scene between Patrick and Beverly. Well, Picard and Beverly, sorry. Which is fantastic. She's wrong, but hey, it's fantastic. Talking about when she got pregnant and then trying to tell him he got kidnapped for 9 days. Oh, I didn't know I only had a 9-day window. That was such a great comeback. Like, his acting in this is fantastic. I wanted to tell you, and he's like, why didn't you? So yeah, there was the kidnapping, the assassination attempt, then getting asked by Starfleet to talk to the Praetor, and then the grenade going off. And that's how it would always be. Attempts on your life. But she's still wrong, because he's right when he says you took away the choice. Anyway, it's a great conversation, great acting, awesome scene. Boom.
And it's a really long scene, doesn't feel like it.
Does not feel like it. And I love how far apart they are. They got like 2 beds between them. Yeah. Like the distance is quite
2
exaggerated
beds between them.
It's quite exaggerated in the one scene to really show that the rift between them.
Yeah, it's. I would love to have seen the scene acted in the 2010s if they'd had another movie. Patrick would have had more his voice, and the age would have been a little bit lower. Because it's odd to see a late 70s woman talk about having kids in a sort of almost a present tense way, because they're they're going over the 20 years ago stuff. It's odd to see such an older lady talk about kids when her kids are all probably in their 40s, right? But that's not the point. It's, you know, this culmination of the legacy, and you know, post Nemesis they tried again, and the fact that, and this is kind of a guy thing, I think, that a lot of us feel, that, you know, the woman saying, I think we both knew it was over. He's like, I didn't.
I wasn't aware anything was wrong, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That, I mean, I relate to that, Stuart, I'll be honest, as a guy.
I do too. More than once.
Yeah. So that was heartbreaking. Now, obviously, he had the command aspect, so he was other things to think about, fine. But that was like, wow, okay. But as he said, 5th time. Like, we keep being over, and yet we end up together again. So I thought that was very relatable. I love the Riemann stuff. It shows that it's, of course, post, you know, destroying the entire government of Romulus. Might be some other things going on. Might be some revenge plots from other Riemanns who light Shinzon. Love it. Bit full on to say Dinatra got a system as soon as she became head of the military, like 1 year later.
No, the Dinatra system's been around long before Dinatra was
really?
So yeah, like, she was probably named after the system, because the system's been around since like Starfleet Battles time.
So that was just a really silly coincidence of 2 Dinatras and 2 Romulan spaces a year apart. Okay, cool.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
The system's been around a lot long.
Okay. But yeah, the acting, I think Gates had a stronger acting than Patrick, but Patrick was there to be defensive, so they matched well. But she did a really, really good job. And, you know, yeah, it's a real argument. You know, we said, and many people called her out for, she'd never do that. And I said, wait and see what they say. What is the argument? And I thought it was very well thought out. Because how do you make a 40 year Trek legend who many people, especially if you're a father who lost a child or a mother lost a child, they might say F them, like pure emotional response. How do you not break their legacy? Well, they achieved it. Very relatable. I can look after my own kid, but not yours.
Yeah. As your kid, he was always have the target on his back.
Now, obviously, I counted yesterday. Well, he was in a vineyard without being attacked for like 16 years. Provably, if you've not been attacked for 5 years, I think you might be in a safe point. So there's definitely a disconnection with that chunk of the life. Now, we know Jack said no to go seeing him, but if I was Beverly, I would have insisted we go see him. 5 years of no death threat. Maybe I'll go introduce him.
The thing is, she says this as well. Like, you won't be put on by the galaxy if the galaxy comes calling. You embrace that. You go regardless of when it is. So yeah, if things are fine for 10 years, if something comes along and it's like, you've seen 2 seasons of it now. He's like, I'm up for the challenge.
As he said, though,
I know his counter's good.
You made that choice for me. Things would have been different otherwise, because I wouldn't, at the subject being, I would not have done the same daredevil tactics to risk it all if I had the most important thing to me back home. So, I mean, very fair.
Another one of my favorite things is, when she says, you said you never wanted to be a father. You didn't want to be like your father. And he's like, well, you didn't. I found out now that, like last season, that I wouldn't have been my father. I wouldn't have turned into him. But I could have known that 20 years ago. And I love that because I never wanted to be a father. I never wanted kids. I kind of got... The situation just came about that I had kids. And I wouldn't change it for anything now. Mm-hmm. But back then, yeah. I mean, but when you're confronted with it, you change. You become a different person. So I love that line. But I love how he fires back too, and how dare you use that against me? The what I told you in confidence about my father, to make that decision for me.
Although, of course you would. That's the most important information he could have given her. That's an emotive thing. But it's also interesting that was the entire point of season 2, was not telling Guinan. We assume that he knew what he was thinking. He just didn't tell Guinan, one of his best friends from the last 2 decades. Told her. Felt like a relative, like, oh, of course I told you. No even reaction to that. So I thought that was powerful by itself. But it does make you certainly wonder. Patrick himself, we're giving you a son. You've never played that except in one episode in TNG, which lasted 30 minutes until the reveal. You can see why, because he loves his family. He's a big family man. You can see why he's like, I would totally play more Picard, because now he's got a potential wife character, and son character, and his best friends he can play with as well. In other ways, like that now feels like new territory that he could explore and give the character a legacy. That he literally had dialogue in season 2 saying, "There are no more Picards, and I guess I'm okay with that because the writers told me I'm okay with that, despite season 3 where I have a child, but I don't know that yet because they've not written season 3 yet." Yeah. It was a good scene, Stuart. It was a good scene.
It was.
And it was a brighter scene as well.
Yes.
Which helped.
Immensely. Then we get Riker and Jack in the hallway, and I love this. Stop looking at me like that. Like what? Like the outcome of some kind of science experiment. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, kid, but you are. This is gross. I spent 2 decades in a spaceship watching you get cooked up before you were born. Ew. I get where he's going with it, but it just sounds disgusting. They talk about the similarities between him and Picard. The whole "he's not my dad" and the legacy thing never lives up to reality, and I thought that was pretty great actually. But his decision to not go see his dad, I mean, you can see that in an episode of TNG, right? Like, you can see that play out. Some kid gets told who his father is. Do you want to go see them? And then the whole episode is trying to make the decision: should I go meet the person, and then decide not to. So, for whatever reason, and later the scene coming up, but explains the accent. That bugs me because that would have been primary school, where he was going to school in London, and he was only how far from France? On a galactic scale, that's right there, So that's kind of just heartbreaking that she didn't let him know.
Because we assume that he would have spent several years at school. Mm-hmm. So he was, she was Beverly in London for those years? years.
You would think so.
Maybe. But also, do you want to just read Bill Barclay's comment? Here's a comment at us, Stuart.
I pose a question, and it's not questioning Trekyards' intelligence, but how do they know that Riker isn't a changeling? Because they haven't seen all the episodes. Yes, they know tidbits of info. How do we know that he's not a changeling? Because that would just be incredibly stupid. Everything he's saying to Jack in this scene solidifies that. Unless he gets knocked out on the way to the bridge, as I said, and thrown in a closet, and then the changeling assumes his form. It's called deductive reasoning. So there you
go. My response, I write a lot of stories, and anything's possible, but some things are more likely structurally. It's like, Cisco could return, but that you think Avery's retired from acting, and he's expensive, and it would take away. There are things that do and don't make sense. And it might have been changing for one scene, I would give you, but not for the entire thing.
Exactly. DX2069, member for 8 months at the rank of lieutenant, says, I really enjoyed this episode. I love that the changelings are back, and I hope that there is a reason Riker treated Picard like he did. It was weird. Yeah, there will be a reason. And as I've said, it's probably kid-related PTSD issues. There's a few things.
It's the entire story arc, Stuart. You can see it in every scene. Yep.
Give
it a minute, guys. Give it a minute.
Yeah. Deanna and Hester would be happy to have me be rid of me for a while, because it's maybe the anniversary of Thaddeus's death, and then Picard gets his own son, and Riker's happy for him, and Picard's like, "Fuck you, fuck the son." It's irreparable. I can't talk to him, and Riker's like, "Well, God damn it, it's your kid," and he says to himself, he says, "Say what you need to say because God knows."
That was a good.
To himself.
That was acting. That was a top tier little moment.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's a lot of reasons he could be pissed at Picard at this moment,
or at least emotionally less friendly because of relatable reasons.
Yes.
But I really like Jonathan's choice to lean on a light. Because he told himself to do this, right?
That's true. Yeah.
It was so specific, almost as if he's being lazy, but it's shockingly relatable, like as a character thing. And he's so chill this scene. It's kind of remarkable. But yeah, I've seen these to my best friends. They I saw looks, I saw Naked Now. I saw Naked Time somehow. They did some things.
A lot of nakedness going on.
Yeah. Well, you get bored at Warp, Stuart. But it's true. You aren't just a child. You aren't just Jack Crusher. You are this amalgam of an on and will they won't they relationship that went from their 30s to their 70s. In essence, like if you include the entire span of their relationship.
Yeah.
That's giant. And here you are just being you, but you are more. And yeah. But I it does recontextualize their first meeting, because he did obviously know that Picard was his dad. I kind of want to rewatch. I mean, we thought he was, but I don't know if he knew. Should probably rewatch those scenes and say what sort of recognition in his eyes, because he's so removed from it. But at the same time, if you have your, and this is to chat as well, if there's one favorite celebrity that you just, there's such love in your nostalgic heart for, and you meet them, and they're even 1% less cool, what will that do to that part of your life that you've related to them for, right? So your dad, one of the most famous people in history. Well, shit.
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, big space boots. And I get the sense that Beverly was being honest with her stories of him, so there's negative as well, which makes him more human, but also like, well, he let my mum down 5 times. He killed my mum's ex-husband. I mean, what? Nothing. What? That's a subplot. What do you guys think?
Chuck A, TNG fanatic, throws in $2. I have 2 daughters and just became a grandpa. Well, congratulations. Yes. I've got 2 daughters, 2 sons, and 4 grandchildren myself. So figure that out.
All from Selena?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, but those 3.
Yeah. SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5.
Okay.
She shouldn't have said he went to school. She should have said he went to school in Paris, reinforcing the thing about a French guy having an English accent. Yeah.
Well, that is the double joke, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Trickle Power throws in $5.
Thank you.
Rewatching the Jack scenes again, knowing that Jack knew Picard was his father, is really good. When he says, "I never had a father," in the brig scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Those things would be huge scenes. Cool. That's good.
All right. So then we get the trust no one question, and she's like, "We got jumped by Fenris Rangers, then Klingons, and then went to Starfleet, and they still came for him. Everywhere we go, people turn on us." So, and she's like, "I don't think it has anything to do with Jack. I think it has something to do with you." And Picard's like, "I don't even know this Vadic person." She's like, "Neither do we, but you got to think, that's not a bounty hunter ship. That's a warship. That's with a Jean-Luc...
He's a predator.
With a Jean-Luc Picard-sized enemy behind it." I loved that.
Yeah. Well, this felt like a scene straight after Nemesis, in the sense that they're friends, they're zoning in, they're closer, they're interacting. There isn't that, as you said a minute ago, that deliberate space. Time and distance. Now they're instantly together. Like
they're getting close. They're getting closer. Yes.
Like you now get two shots, because in the other scene you were doing close-ups. It was notably interesting. And yeah, I like the fact that she's not lying to him. Right? There's no deeper thing here. We were helping. Recently things have been going screwy. It makes no sense. Changelings. Okay. Problem is though, if which I don't think they were, but if the Rangers, the Klingons, and the Federation were changelings, I don't believe that Beverly could outsmart changelings 3 times in a row without, like... Changelings are really smart with a lot of plans, a lot of abilities. No offense to Beverly, but she's not that sort of officer. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming it's more just... Well, I'm assuming this would be a rogues gallery of villains. I assume we're going to get some larger plot with multiple types of villains. So they're... they have connections in this faction and this faction, Or even, you could argue that there's one changeling in Starfleet Command who orders this colony to grab Beverly. That's all you have to do, really. Just take over some guy in charge or his appearance.
This is great. We find out about the accent thing, and then he says, "Didn't I deserve a chance?" And she's like, "I told him at a certain age who you were, and encouraged him to see you. He chose not to."
Yep.
That's when Picard leaves. And right away, after hearing that, the first thing he sees is Jack, and he just looks at him, then looks at Riker and says, "Let's go."
Yep.
Because that pissed him off. You knew who I was, and you chose not to come and see me. So in the moment, I would be pissed too, and I would probably do the exact same thing. And it all leads up to this conversation with Will, because Will's like, "What did she say?" And he's like, "It's immaterial."
Yeah.
Immaterial? That's your son. And this whole thing. You need to say what you need to say to him. Talk to him. Moments with your kids. You never know what's going to happen. God knows. And he points at himself. And all Picard says is, "Well, it's irreparable. You can't fix it. I owe this ship's captain an apology," and he leaves. So I can see why Riker's maybe like, "You dumb. My son is dead. Your son is here right now. Use that to your, like..."
You were literally gifted a son.
Yes.
And he's very like you. And he's not a terrorist, really. He's not this evil guy. He's this good guy who's doing good things with the mum. Like, yeah, I can see that. But this is great. Yeah, certainly not responding to Jack was crushing.
Yeah. Such a great scene. So well acted, so well directed. Everything about it was fantastic.
And obviously it's just super simple. There's no money being spent. It's just soundstage. Go film, well written, because these people know what to do most of the time. And I can imagine Jack was thinking, "Dad?" Like, even if he doesn't like the guy yet, he's thinking he's going to say something. And so blank him entirely. Because the fact is, I'm sure Picard thought, I just spent the last 6 years of my 10 vineyard waiting to die. I had no real things to look forward to. I was doing my thing. I had a dog. I had a cane. There was no point. If Jack had...
number one?
What, sorry?
Oh, where's number one? I hope number one's still alive. puppy.
Yeah. But if Jack had appeared 5 years ago, it would have radically altered his life. And that's the worst time of Picard's life was the last, 5-6 years. The exact years that Jack would have been old enough to come in and say hi, when he knew, are the worst times. So that obviously comes in as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And yeah, Riker's just beautiful here. Really, really powerful. And the fact we keep mentioning Thad, I feel there's going to be a play to that.
Well, I think that's going to have something to do with the Deanna and Kestra thing. I think it's an anniversary of the death or something. It's going to be something like that. And that's really pitting Riker against Picard right at this moment. So,
but I'm going to start a new poll, though, because we're at 213 votes. My question to you all was, what do you think of the digital de-aging? We have an interesting slew of results here. The winner is It Was Okay at 51%. Second was Looks Good at 19%. Looks Bad at 17%, so pretty close. I'm just happy they're doing it 14%, so mostly okay.
Nice.
Interesting.
While he does another poll, guys, this is my point. This is my time to say it's 271 of you here, 211 likes. Amazing, guys. Let's try to get to 250 likes, though. If you haven't hit that like button, please give it a tap. And also, keep super chatting in. We want to hear your thoughts, comments, questions. We can't get to everybody's, unfortunately, but we do get to all the super chats. So if you're able to do that, please do so. And we will read them and talk about them on the air here. So, and also consider joining the channel as well. Click that join button and join the Trekyards fleet. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool perks down there, and it's very little. For the price of a cup of coffee, for a month's worth of membership, really helps us out in the long run. So if you can, please do so. Go take a look.
Yeah, and if you want to buy, if you're having really expensive coffees every week, put in a really expensive cup of coffee.
Well, yes. If you want it, yeah. Go check it. Look at the options. There's ranks. There's fun things. Go check it out.
I was watching a review thing yesterday where they were comparing, $1, $4, $10, $27 of coffee, and it's like, hey, if you want to put $27 of cup of coffee, I mean.
All right, but
new poll.
Lady, look at the new poll. We got a new poll, and it is who acted the best this week: Picard, Riker, Beverly, or Worf. None of them acted because those are all characters.
I know, but it's easy to say.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Just easier.
Fine. But anyway, Lady looking at the back of the ship sees the strike, and all hands battle stations. How did she find us? Nobody knows. And yeah, they get some pummeling going on, and this is where Liam Shaw gets injured quite severely, actually. Looks like he's got a compound fracture in his leg. He's got bone sticking out. And he's basically says to Riker, you know what, you got us into this, you're going to get us out of this. And he transfers his command codes over to Riker. Which some people ask, why not Picard? Because Picard is an admiral and Riker is still an active captain who used to be captain of the Titan. So it just makes sense to actually do transfer.
Well, it's not a question of why not Picard, it's why would it be Picard?
Exactly. That's what I pointed out last time.
Yeah. And also, I just realised that one of the things that fell down in the big explosion was a railing that didn't exist to hold up the railing. Doesn't need that. There isn't a railing there. This, I liked Shaw's hurt damage, but it doesn't connect to me that they're firing weapons at the bridge module. The shields are up. The shields are obviously fine. The shields the entire rest of the episode, and yet whatever the hell happens here is giant damage. Doesn't damage the ship at all, because nothing's not working after this. And yet, this is extreme damage. This is like, shields are down, the hull's been breached, level of damage. But it isn't, it's just... Like, imagine if this was Nemesis, right? Every time the Scimitar attacked... That movie would be a really shitty ending. Instead, it's... 42%. 28%. Like, it's just... It doesn't feel actiony when you have shields. If you have no shields, they're dead because they're hitting the bridge module. If you want to hurt Shaw, yeah. Poor him, though.
Yeah. Peter Lukaku, $5. If Picard was in charge instead of Riker, he would have rammed the Titan A to the strike. And Sergeant Montgomery, $2. Are the changelings behind the transwarp tunnel in season 2?
No.
Probably no. But this is the perfect opportunity here where
Maybe.
they say, like, all right, they're behind us, fire a torpedo and shoot it. And Picard, like, does it before Will's even finished speaking. They work together long enough. This would have been a great time to see the Shrike in the background, because it is behind them. And then the next shot is great, because you see the torpedo fire, and then very concussive blast. It does blow the Shrike right back. Really great footage. I really like this. But it would have been cool to see it out the back window when they're talking with the plan, see the Shrike in the distance. It's just me maybe, but
yeah, I thought this is what we were going to have more of this episode, of Riker ordering Picard, and Picard just does it. You know, his number one lie is entirely undone by everything else in the episode, which I thought was sad. Like, don't include it if you're going to rip it away instantly.
But it's a good moment with a nice musical beat to it.
It is. I just want a later payoff.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, the fact that, you know, that's that.
But if it ties into them being, this is
absolutely
in the ruse. Yep. This is their code.
100%. But I just appreciate the fact that that is a trope in Trek, which is the captain having to explain the order. But obviously, if you're the scientist, you're going to pick up on it very quickly, and you're waiting for them to finish the order. But you're. So I like the fact that I get it. I don't have to be explained. That was one of the smarter meta things. Although, why do they not fire photon torpedoes after otherwise? Because, you know, why are they running from the Shrike and not firing? They don't even try. Like, why would Picard think that 4 photon torpedoes from the front launcher would be any more effective than 4 from the aft? So why not pepper it with shots the rest of the battle? They don't fire at any other point. Fire the aft phasers. You might as well.
The argument could be made that the nebula is affecting the phasers, but he uses the phaser here to blow up the torpedoes. So
torpedoes are also tiny. That is pinpoint perfect phasers. So there's another disconnect there.
It's also your own weapon, and it's a tracking weapon, so you should technically be able to track where your torpedoes are. So the phaser should be able to target it much easier.
Yeah, but the Shrike's real big and real powerful, and yeah, definitely. You know, there's definitely things in the episode that are, moving on, plot points like why Seven's still in the crew quarters. She shouldn't be. Oh, okay. You know.
SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5 and says, "I'm guessing feedback from the shields overloading the EPS conduits."
Then the shields will be down, which means that it can beam people over or under. And if the EPS conduits destroyed the bridge, then the bridge would stop working because that's the main EPS conduits, but nothing else was damaged. So no. Sorry. Good, but no. Maybe they aren't carrying up torpedoes. Maybe, but they're about to get killed anyway, so why hold on to them if you're going to get killed? You know? Like, there was no plan. But then, we all forgot that Raffi existed.
Yes, we did.
And I was extremely unhappy with this transition, I'll be honest.
Me too.
I had an instant visceral, which is sad, because Worf's in it. But it was such a terrible, like, oh yeah, this stuff.
Yeah,
really
but it
sad.
very quickly becomes better, and you forgot that you felt that way.
Yes, but all 3 times, Stuart, we've done this. I've had the exact same feeling.
Me too.
Oh. It's not their fault.
I love this.
It's just the writing and the pacing and the sets and the story, but not really the story, just the main story. Yeah.
I am Worf, son of Moog, House of Martog, son of Sergei.
Yes.
Stepfather of Jeremy Astor, Bane of the Duras family, Slayer of Gowron. I have made some chamomile tea. Do you take sugar? Sorry, I had to add the Jeremy Astor thing in. I was hoping as they were going through it the first time, I'm like, please mention something about Jeremy Astor. No, unfortunately, there is nothing. But that would have been hilarious.
What about Alexander, his actual child?
You've
already forgotten his real kid.
Taking on Jeremy Astor was something that he did,
for honor.
I mean, in his family. Yeah, exactly. You would add that to the list. Having a son, you're not going to list all your goddamn sons.
It was glory to you and the house. I'm just going to go to the loo briefly because I've been drinking lots the last 2 hours. See you in a minute.
Okay. 266 of you here, 237 likes. Let's try to get those likes up to 250. Again, still going for 250. Hit that like button and consider joining the channel as well and subscribing. We gotta shift gears here and get into the Worfy and the Worfy, Worfy. There you go. Worfy. Or no, it doesn't work. Worfy. That's what they're going to be called now. Anyway, we got to get into this scene. But General Grievous throws in $5. The Riker maneuver was a shout out to Voyager Season 7, Workforce Part 2, where the Doctor was the emergency command hologram, fires a photon torpedo, and shoots a phaser to detonate it. Indeed. Andre Benson, $5. I like that the Titan phasers were actually phasers we recognized, not the Discovery phasers. Well, yeah, of course. Let's see. Bradley Thomas. How's it going? Throws in $5. If they would have used transphasic torpedoes, the Shrike would have been a one-shot kill. Indeed. Philip Gaming is here. Live long and prosper, he says. Hello, Philip. Raffaella, yes. Love that he calls her Raffaella, actually. SVS Guru 2000 throws in €2. He should have offered her prune juice. No, I like the chamomile tea thing. The prune juice is a warrior's drink. He's more trying to find himself. He's more at peace now, so he's drinking chamomile tea. No, it's more.
He's Worf, the next generation.
Yes. Worfy. That's what we're going to call them now. The two of these together are Worfy. I made that Freudian slip when I was talking about this scene a second ago. Raffaella. I like that. I like that he calls her that. Mm-hmm. Very Worf-like of him.
Yes. But no, he was pitch perfect. He was great. He had so much nuance. He was great in the makeup. I'm so annoyed that all the posters made it look like he just had a full goatee.
Yeah.
Because that just felt wrong to Worf. Because we thought, oh, why make a mistake? But it's not. It's just very long. So when he moves, it looks like Worf, but on the posters it looked like a weird goatee guy. It was subtle, but it meant something. It's amazing the difference.
Yep.
But as I said before, I didn't need the last time on again.
Cap, no.
Easily cut out 2 minutes of this Raffi stuff, just her dialogue, unfortunately. Until basically the end, when she's like, cool. Like, you think she's going to be annoying and go out against him. Entirely opposite. They vibe together. Yeah. And then it starts now. Well, no, the next scene is not very good, but the dialogue is better. And clearly they work as a good duo.
I love what she says, too. Your Starfleet? Yeah. My concerns align with theirs. Think of me as a subcontractor.
Yeah.
It's great. So he's not Starfleet. He's just working with Starfleet intelligence.
Yes.
He's probably still working for Kronos. So.
Yes. But yeah, whenever there's shots of him in light, he looks amazing.
Oh, yes.
It's just they keep showing it dark as well. And yes, the set is just appalling. Because they always want to spend time on the back bit. Because the only interesting thing in the entire set. That everything else is a grey tube. But it's a bit obnoxious in some scenes. It's just red light on their faces. It's like, guys, just turn the lights on. Sit down, have a chat. You know? Yeah. But you work with what you got, which is a crappy set.
Yeah. He says we got to find this Titus Rika guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
a human
together.
Totally a human. The ball thing.
We're back on the Titan.
Mm-hmm.
where cool stuff is happening. They're having a conversation about avoiding the Shrike, but she keeps finding us. And so they're making a run for it. They got 20 minutes before engineering fixes things.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that's up, they're going to run out of the nebula and just take off.
Which is ironic because
strategy only.
Which is ironic because of course they'll warp after you, and shoot at you at warp. I'm not sure what the plan is after that. I think they've kind of forgot they can chase you. You know what I mean? That's only the first part of the plan.
He does make a point of saying this isn't the Enterprise, and from what I've seen, our best option is to hide.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the last ship Picard had was an Odyssey, and the one before that was a Sovereign. Really capable ships. Yeah.
Different command style. The Titan wasn't quite as big or bulky as those. More powerful, perhaps. So.
Mm-hmm. But it must have been odd for the crew, though. You almost never hear a debate about what to do. In terms of command styles, that's pretty rare. They actually have a full conversation until Riker basically takes the seat.
It's usually in the ready room.
Yep.
I disagree with your plan. We should try this.
Yeah, it was odd to have it in that place, but it felt like friends. Thing is, they get less and less friends as the scenes go on. But they're trying here, and you can tell Riker's not going to change his mind. But at the end, he's like, "Yes, but I'll listen to all your thoughts, you old man who I'm not going to listen to, but I'll listen to them all."
I think this is tying back to Star Trek 2, and they're using code. Because the way they're talking here, and he's like, I appreciate your input, Admiral, things like that, is like, I appreciate your input, I'm going to go with your plan. Even though, I think it's code. I really do. I think they're going to show a flashback to this, and you're going to see, it started with the Call Me Number 1, and it's the whole, same thing as with Kirk and Spock. Days could be hours could be days. I have a feeling. Because there's a lot of Star Trek 2 and 3 references here, so I'm calling it now.
Yeah, that's very, very true. But there's too much real dialogue around the Cody bits.
That's the point, to make it confusing.
Yeah. Strange. But let's see how the poll's going. Let's get
sorry, go ahead.
Well, let's get 200 votes in the poll, guys. We're at 162. Keep voting. We'd like to get 200, and then we can. Because I'm interested by the results.
Because the whole trust no one thing, I think they're both on the same page with that. So yeah, literally everyone that's within earshot, they're trying to have.
Oh, that's why they're doing it in the open. The reverse of it, they're not doing it because they
Exactly. Okay. Yes. We'll give out information that they think they're getting the right information, but actually we know what we're actually doing. The more I'm saying it, the more it makes sense, especially with their dialogue the way it is. It's weird.
But why would the strategy be to let yourselves to get yourselves get battered enough to be damaged to? But I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the actual strategy,
but with all of this to consider, they know for a fact Vadik wants Jack Crusher alive. So whatever they do, they're not going to kill the Titan until they get Jack Crusher. So there's that to play on. The idea of we'll attack when the time is right. The weird thing, though, is that why the hell did they leave? Vadik had the Titan. She had Crusher. She left. The ending doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I'm calling that right now. They're using some kind of code.
Yeah, I mean, Picard's acting is quite genuine here of, well, shit. Why am I even here, then?
Yeah.
But yes. I was about to map. I got a maneuver named after me. You young whippersnapper. You 7-year-old whippersnapper. Picard maneuver. Heard of it?
I do too, the Riker maneuver, but I can't do it anymore because I'm too old. I can't lift my leg that high.
I thought that. The chairs are too big.
Yeah.
I thought that.
Then we get a sense of Jack's bedside manner, which I love. Hey, look at me. Look at me. We're going to be all right. You lost a lot of blood, but it's okay because we got plenty.
Yeah.
He's good with that, so that's fine.
I got to give a little shout out to this woman who posted this screen cap saying, "I'm in Star Trek. I'm so proud." You go, girl. Yay for being proud and being engaged. But yeah, then we get more, and this I liked it. I thought he could have died. I was kind of surprised he didn't. And I like, yeah, you know, the main doctor says no internal injuries or bleeding, and Beverly says, well, there might now be internal bleeding that the scanners couldn't pick up on because it's so small, it's so radical, whatever, for this sort of injury. So she just uses her overall knowledge, but also it's a sense of the current doctor uses the tech to its fullest. Beverly has not had tech in 20 years. She's had to relearn the old school methods, which help with these problems, and she saves his life. And I thought that was a great little thing. Actually, I thought Beverly. It's like LeVar. He sings engineering dialogue. Beverly just sells medical dialogue. It just does.
And Shaw is trying to make a point. He's like, "How does she keep finding us?" That's all he can say through the pain, essentially.
Yep.
And
yep.
Jack's like, I'm sorry this is happening. I didn't intend for any of this. And he asks it again to emphasize it. How'd she find us? Mm-hmm. That gets Jack to clue in.
Yep.
Look at the floor with blood.
Yep.
Which ties into blood in the water, which is fucking great.
And it's so funny I was almost expecting the second time to see the camera reflecting these flaws. Because they're meant to be very reflective flaws, but as soon as they do a close-up, they're not that reflective, are they?
No.
Did they? I wonder if they literally filmed the floor and they're like, damn, we see our camera, we've got to build a new set piece of the floor, just like make it less shiny. Because that's really dull considering how the rest of the sets are. It's just something I thought, irony. But yes, then we get more flashes of light, more, we should not go further into this non-nebula. Logic dictates, and Riker's like, okay. Well,
yeah, it's like nothing we've ever seen before, which is weird in and of itself.
Yes, so instead it's the case of, right, you got 8 minutes till warps back, you got 8 minutes till we leave. Shields up! Basically.
Yeah. Inform engineering that as long as it takes for us to get out of this nebula as much time as they have to fix things.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Now, we've got to say, we've never seen, in the next scene, Jack's trying to get to the bridge, we've never seen a guard on a turbo lift.
During Red Alert, to say no going to the bridge? Yeah, that's never been a thing, really.
Especially as any turbo lift can get to the bridge.
Yes.
Is there a guard in every door? No. I liked seeing it in theory, but is really the guard literally there to stop Jack, Beverly, and Seven? Because everyone else is allowed on the bridge. Like, not necessarily they should go on the bridge, but if an incident has to go on the bridge for a reason, they'll go to the bridge. Like, it's weird. I've never seen it before. Because normally you'd think it would be a case of...
It could be a changeling that's just trying to stop Jack from helping out.
Sure.
Because it doesn't seem like standard Starfleet procedure.
Yeah. Maybe it is, and no one ever does it, but Shaw's by the book. He insists that... Because if you're in a science mission...
He seems like a by-the-book kind of guy.
Because if you're in a science mission, security are doing nothing all day. So maybe they're actually meant to be guarding turbolifts at all times. That's actually their posting. You know,
yeah.
Like O'Brien just stands at a transporter pad all day doing nothing. Maybe they just stand at doors. But most captains are like, I mean, anything is a better thing to do. But yeah, I just, you know, you would assume... if you were really thinking about it, that the turbolifts would say, you've not got a comm badge, you're not on the ship roster, no bridge access. You would need a guy there. Just saying.
Yep. Beautiful shots of the Titan again.
Mm-hmm.
Approaching the outer edge, you see space, and I'm like, yes, they're getting out of this ugly-ass nebula, finally.
Mm-hmm.
But not so much. The Shrek is right behind them.
Pew, 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 pew. Well, no, not pew, pew. They fire the weapon. I mean, they could just have shot the nacelles and destroyed their warp nacelles. Would have been quicker.
Yeah, but this is cooler.
It is, but they've got all of the guns, and if they lose warp drive, they're stuck.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Sir, we're going right through. Yeah, see, people said that the line of dialogue was that they're getting pulled in. So I said just divert, but she doesn't say that. She actually says, sir, we're going right through. Okay, that's fine. That's the first one. And this is really cool. I love that it pops you right back out in front of the strike. And flanked, by the way. Side shield, which is usually not as strong as the forward shields.
Yeah, this was great for a number of reasons. I love it's just the Doctor Strange circle with the Doctor Who, like, it's one of the effects from the 60s or 70s, slash a Stargate. It's a really simple, familiar... Like, I do think they could have done this in Voyager, this effect. Like, it's a very, very simple, relatively effect, but it's very effective.
Yeah.
There's a slight discontinuity with how it works, though. In the first usage, both pools open at the same time, and the thing is existing in both. The second one, it entirely disappears, and then a new portal activates, which says that is inside an interdimensional portal for 2 seconds. So they already sort of ignore how it works instantly, because that is different. One is actually a portal, one's a dimensional time traveling.
And this
thing.
The second thing's interesting because she says, "Sir, she's pulling us back in again," which people might mistake for it's pulling us in, but it's just her talking about Vadic's strategy. She's pulling us back in again.
Yeah.
So I think it's just misheard line.
And I think depth is the issue here, is that it looks as if they're like 10 seconds from the edge of the nebula, but I think actually Vatic is really further in. It's just visually it's not presented that way, and so they're going back like a minute of travel, a full impulse. So it feels like we're going deeper back in. Cause it feels like it's just right there. But I do love seeing the pincers activate, make the thing. That's all great. The fact that it grabs them was just great. I mean, and one long shot. We rarely get long shots that are that graceful. Just really, really, really good. Top notch. And then the Shrikes are like, hello, hi. Yeah. You know that thing the escape you were planning? Yeah, no, we got the pincers. Yeah, no.
And then next scene, your heart sinks again because you're at Vitalis Prime again. And we see this ugly planet lighting again. It reminds me so much of Discovery. Anytime they went to a planet. Anyway, the inconspicuousness of the hood and the Vulcan casual gear.
Vulcan?
The Klingon casual gear. Beheadings are on Wednesday. That's fucking great.
Yeah, I thought the casual line was beautiful because, of course, a Klingon will be armed at all times.
Yeah,
and it is a very casual looking. I thought that was great. I was, that was beautiful. My issue with this is definitely the worst scene of the episode by an absolute mile. Would you agree?
Yes, but there's an anomaly.
A temporal anomaly?
In some of these scenes. There's a guy in the background wearing sunglasses who looks at the camera like quite a few times. And it's weird. He looks like the guy from NCIS Miami.
Okay.
But anyway, I don't know who he is, but he stands out, and it's weird.
Oh yeah, that guy.
This is the worst scene of the episode, in my opinion. Yes.
Now, why do you think it is? Because I have extremely specific reasons why.
Well, as I said, the background extras all look like dumbasses, but it's a planet. It's fine, and it reminds me very much of Discovery. The lighting, just everything about it. The cinematography just feels like Discovery. The fact that she's going after the guy, and yet Worf chokeslams him through a table. It's just a weirdly put together scene, and it just, with what's going on the Titan, again, it pulled me out of things a little bit. Sure, it's more interesting than it has been with Raffi, but yeah, it's also a short scene, so thank God for that. But that's why I didn't like it. That's one of the reasons.
Yeah, I have very specific filming reasons. So they've shared behind the scenes pictures of how big the set is, and it's tiny. It's just one street, and you can tell there's no sense of where they're running to. They're obviously running down the same thing in close up to hide the fact there's no set, because Raffi's running, Worf is walking, Raffi's running. You have no sense of where they are, what they're doing, and if they're in streets, Worf has not got his eyes on this guy who's running through streets to then get in front of him to then say, attack. They haven't got a set. They can't do anything here to make it interesting, and the scene is terrible because of that. Not just that, he's a fucking changeling.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He says he knows we're following him. So he would change his form instantly, wouldn't he? There's no reason whatsoever, unless he can't do that, but there's a whole story of reason then. If he's actually changing the way we think, instantly he changes form and blends in. You can't capture a changeling this way. And also, Worf slams to the ground. He's like, ugh, ugh, if it winded him. That does nothing to a changeling. Nothing. At all. They haven't got bones or wind to go out of their sails. So the entire scene is they had no money, they had no time, they had no set, and it's terrible. And also, how do they track him down? Even if he's a human smuggler man, he's also a changeling. Why the hell's a changeling that easy to find? Doesn't matter if everything's human, he should be almost impossible to track because he doesn't want to be found. So it's a nonsensical anything. No. Moving on.
Yeah. It progresses their plot along.
Oh yeah, it's great. On. Yeah, just the scene's terrible. But the scene progression is good, just the scene is terrible.
Yeah.
Like really bad.
Then we get the Titan being pummeled. Boom, 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 boom.
Unfortunately, that's the 5th time now, which means the scene has no weight because it keeps surviving boom, boom, boom shields. It's now just meaningless visuals, unfortunately.
It is.
Because Vatic isn't, like, why aren't they shooting their engines? Stop shooting the bridge module. Like disable the ship. What are you doing? They got 6 impulse engines. They're not the bridge module. Vadic's not even doing a strategy here anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, Jack shows up and talks to 7 of 9, saying, blood in the water. As a Fenris Ranger, you know this tactic.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? What is there available on the ship that could be traced easily? Which is Viridium gas, apparently. Viridium. It's used for isolating the warp coils.
And Jill and T-Luz Allen both say, can a changeling change when they're overdue a nap? Or, yes. If them staying in their form is causing their problem, then them becoming someone else would fix their need to revert. At least somewhat. Changing form helps. And he could just become goo for a second, be out of visibleness, and then reform.
Yeah. SBS Girl 2000, $5. Changeling could have easily escaped by turning into a puddle of piss and flowing through a gutter into the sewer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like I say, they had no money, no set, so it was bad. That's okay. Moving on.
This is the whole, the order stands, you got to be stay in your quarters. Oh, there's punch. I'm thinking about that punch.
Yeah,
Great.
he's a strong guy.
And the whole, you're insane. Yep, moving on.
It is kind of funny how you hire the biggest guy with the biggest macho guy you can find just to make the scene work even better. And then all I could see was, why is Seven wearing high heels as part of her uniform? It didn't occur to me that all women wearing is that standard Starfleet officer issue to wear women high heels?
Never even noticed that.
Well, because it's really?
Oh yeah.
Is that really Starfleet uniform? That we're still forcing the women to wear high heels? That aren't?
I mean, it's better than a cat suit, I guess, but still, yeah.
It just seemed odd to me. Why wouldn't they wear flats?
I think she is wearing flats in the next scene, actually.
I don't really do what she wants. Yay, height. Height's useful, but it's just weird to be oh, high heels. Okay. Oh, yep. and then the COVID safe scene.
No, what do you mean?
Well, they're wearing masks.
Oh,
It's the COVID safe scene. It's just, Although I just found
the gas in the room.
Well, I just found a screenshot, and you can see 2 of her fingers are broken. 2 of the fingered lines are. It'll be on the, because they're quite thin, so they break, and so the appendages are a bit broken. Oops.
Damon throws in $17.01. Very clever. I'm the most awesome person in the chat. Yes, you are. Thank you for. And we get to announce that because you super chatted it. So, Damon is the most amazing person in the chat, guys.
Yes.
Who can beat him?
$17.02, $17.02, I think.
And we're only 1 like away from that 250 likes, guys. Somebody has to hit that like button. Damon, if you're the most awesome person in the chat, hit that like button because I know you haven't.
Yes.
See you.
Also, I'm fine with the heels, guys. I really am. It's just odd to have a close up, to put in your.
Yeah.
And Jerry is 5'6", almost 5'7", so she's not small for a woman. Sort of average woman height.
Yeah. Anyway, find out this was sabotage, a phaser at close range.
Sabotage.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, there's the way the mask attach are a mystery, but hey, it looks cool.
Like I said, COVID safe. That's all I saw. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it sets up the next scene. And I love that Riker doesn't even question that Seven's back on the case.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you, disqualified officer who I forgot to reinstall shirt.
Yeah. So here we get Captain. We're too close to the center of the nebula, and by a quick estimate, a strong, sizable inner gravitational well. So there's a large gravitational well in the center of this thing. And when I saw the color of it, I thought it's Nagilum. You remember Nagilum? But I don't know what it is. It could be many things. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
What does Nagilum need of the starship?
He's hungry. Nagilum must feed.
212 votes in our poll. Question is, who acted the best this week? With a strong lead, Worf, of course, Michael Dorn, at 46%, with Riker, a la Jonathan Frakes, coming up reasonably close behind, but with a bit of distance, with 33%. Beverly, a.k.a. Gates McFadden, 12%. And the namesake of the show, Star Trek Picard, Patrick Stewart, 9% of you thought he acted the best. Oops.
Well, G-Man and Orwell throw in $5, and this is their first super chat, so thank you so much.
Welcome.
Did John Luke know about Guinan's bar in LA before the events of season 2?
Retcon now, yes.
Yes.
But he hadn't been there in like 18 years, I guess.
Yeah.
But now we know that her bar was there for 200 years.
Anyway. Just ignore that fact.
Yep. We must fight, Riker. Shut up, John Luke.
Damon says, by the way, I will donate $17.01 each time. Each time what?
Each time live.
Each time you super chat?
Hey, thank you.
Each time you join a live. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. All right, so let me get the sabotage discussion. If it is sabotage, we can use that to our advantage. Now that we know that the leak is there, we're going to fix it. We can set her up. We can put her in a trap. He's like, no, we're going to run. I got to get this ship home. We can't risk this crew. You've already said as much. So I love their little conversation here. Defensive versus offensive.
New poll.
What do you think of the Changeling twist? Like it, love it, it's okay, or nope, wanted new canon.
Yes. And this is, I mean, I wish Picard had a strategy with the turn and fight. Because it would have been nice if there's more layers than just turn. And because as we know, Stuart, when your back is turned to us, then they have no shields. Torpedoes work better when shooting the back of a ship.
Sure.
But, Admiral, the shields are the same at all areas. So if you shot from the front, it'd be the same. Okay. Yeah. And you'd think they'd have some plan, or they'd do a insurrection, like the Nebula has a property they can use to a thing. But just shoot them some. It's a terrible plan. Without a plan.
I think that's part of the plan. I think that's part of the evidence to show that there's something else going on here.
He's senile and has no plan, so we should ignore him.
And even Riker's like, I understand that you're amped up, but you have a son on board, and it's affecting.
That's true.
And then Picard yells at him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Then hard cut to a hard hit. Changeling man. I love the way he flaps off the mask, and Jack's like, you can't be in here. And bit of a weird changing face effect. It's
a hard punch, yeah.
I love how Jack gets thrown to this wall. Like, you feel his acting's phenomenal there. Of like, yeah, you like damaged 2 ribs because obviously you're 4 times stronger than I am. Oh god, that was nice.
Oh yeah.
What was
he's got no mask on, and the gas is still in there, so he's kind of out of it.
What was he doing though in this room? Because he comes in, presses a thing, and then leaves.
That's a good question. I think he was. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some kind of sabotagey thing.
Ah. Okay.
Anywho.
Now this is when I was interested in less arena stuff. We've now got some interesting things.
The interrogation, and I thought they were playing good cop, bad cop, with Worf being the good cop.
Which is funny itself.
I'm gonna start pulling off your fingernails. You may keep your fingernails. And then the whole. Have you ever seen how far a Klingon warrior can shove a sword? I don't do that anymore. Yeah, so the good cop, bad cop thing was hilariously played here. I don't know if they were doing that deliberately, but it was great.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really funny. Because the fact is, Raffi is working on extreme emotional withdrawal backlash. Worf's exactly. I am calm. I know more. Like, the disparity of it is rather drastic. I'm kind of sorry for Michelle Hurd. Like, it's not the best stuff to act, right? And Michael's there just owning the scene, but it's also meant to play that way. Listen to Worf. He's been doing this twice your age, way more interesting scenarios, And also, you're coming off speed.
Well, that's what she thinks. And she's got a vial of it. The splinter, as it's called. Which she's a drug addict. She probably should take that away from her, Worf.
I mean, it's probably empty.
Anyway.
I would think it'd be bluff.
Well, it's got blue liquid in it.
It could be rum with an ale.
Sure. But she assumes it's withdrawal pains that he's going through, so she's kind of like tempting him with it, talking about the headaches and the acid on the skin feeling.
Like, I will say they've significantly moved past the whole addiction thing that we thought from the trailers. She got over it instantly.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised how quick. I don't want it to go forward, but it felt like such a big deal last episode, and it's meant relatively nothing.
Coming next year, Star Trek with the weapon with Worfy.
He will be too old for this.
Exactly. Shit. General Grievous, $5.
Thank you.
Jack punched the saboteur. I heard a metallic sound and wondered if it was Lore wearing a mask in the trailer that looked like he was in Titans Engineering.
Ah.
Well, he'll be in Titans Engineering, but not. This isn't him. That's for sure. But we are back on board the Titan now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is weird. This is the 7 says connect the branches, and you got the red behind her. Yeah, the thing is, people are speculating last night on my live about this. One person said because this was after Jack was conceived after Patrick Stewart was the Locutus, but before he was the Golem. So did he still have nanites in his blood? Is this Jack's inherited nanites showing us the relation to the Borg, which was 7 of 9? Like, that's stretching it a lot. I think it has something to do with the nebula they're in, trying to communicate something. It's got to have some kind of relation to the organic element within the nebula. That's my guess. Do you have any thoughts?
So, I can normally come up with quite interesting suggestions for story ideas and visuals. This was a blank slate of...
What? Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Not the branches family tree. Yeah, I like that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, but the red. I don't know. It was entirely abstract to me.
The Red Angel. Seek
well,
the Red Angel for assistance. She can solve all your problems.
I mean, Discovery Season 5 is the last one. Maybe she'll come back in and jump in Picard Season 4. Oh, wait, that's also not happening. Yeah, no idea. Moving on. But yes, taken to sickbay. Jack is now injured. Very nice line of go. Super genuine. And yeah, he makes the call to go and see his son, who's only known for the past 30 minutes. And the fact that he does pick to see him, doesn't hesitate, really, after processing it for a second. Goes down there and shares a genuine moment with his not wife about his yes son. Their first, father-mother scene ever.
Just to tie it together with the 17 seconds title and the similarities between William Riker going down from the bridge, the longest 17-second turbolift ride of his life, and Picard at the time said, that's the moment you became a father. Same thing's happening here. This turbolift ride is 17 seconds. It's him going down because his son could die, and this is him becoming a father. Because when he gets down there, yeah, it's very emotional, like he's going to die, and then he's fine, and it's like a sigh of relief. It was very poignant and very well done, actually. Although that turbolift is fucking huge.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, I know we don't... Is he okay in this shot? Or is it the next scene he's okay?
It's... Hold on. Let's go through. It's this one. He's fine.
Okay. Like I say, it is a bit odd to look at, 70, 80-year-olds being parents. Just structurally, it's an odd thing to be watching. Nemesis would have been nicer as a post-Nemesis. But yeah, it's touching. And I hope that Jack registers the fact that knowing he was your son for less than a day, he chose to come down here instantly. It does mean something. And it shows, yes, Picard might choose this versus the other. Back to Super Chats. Yes, sorry, Super Chats.
Yes. Shout section, big band, throws in $5. Species 8472 veins. It can morph to. Maybe the nebula is an 8472 opening. That's cool.
Wow.
But then there's the red door as well. Like, is it a doorway to their space? Could be. I don't know.
Well, it's causing disruptions. I mean, I have said there might be a who's who of, if you want about TNG cast coming together, rather than going full on Borg, yeah, maybe the Dominion checked out 8472, asked them to, or the Changelings asked them to help. I'm sure they could bond on hatred for people. Yeah. Two changing species coming together.
Sergeant Montgomery, $2. Mycelium network within the nebula. Well, I think we could probably do a live about all the different theories about the nebula. Some people have said it's the changelings that separated from the Great Link, and they've formed the new link. That's why when the changeling changes form later, and it looks very different than the way that all the changelings have looked prior. Not just because it's updated CGI. I hope that's not the issue, because it's just fucking stupid. I hope there's a reason that it looks different. People think that this nebula could be the changelings that left. And a whole bunch of other theories about it.
Well, we'll get there. We're almost there. Jill says Bev was 55 in Nemesis, but her lady parts were rejuvenated in Insurrection. There was even dialogue about it. Yeah? But I mean, in the Trek world, you can keep your womb good for a very long time. She could certainly have a child at 70 or 80. It's just odd from a modern perspective to see someone. But yes, back to the last reading. I really wish they'd said in dialogue, these things are doing something to him, because he keeps going, but there's a disconnect. I did not sense that was causing it. And also, would you be allowed to have shock gauntlets? That seems a bit of an odd thing.
If it's Section 31, it's outside the realm of Federation.
But she's not, though. She's just Federation security. I really wish this...
She's Federation. She's Starfleet intelligence.
Well, that's what I mean. But it's hard to have ethics. But I'm really sad for his actor. He didn't get any more lines, because literally for 1 or 2 days he's always just doing the same sort of acting. It's like, oh, sorry, no more lines.
He confirms that him and somebody else stole the tech from Daystrom station, and that the portal technology was in fact a red herring to draw their attention away from something else, theft of something more lethal.
Now, why is he telling them?
Presumably because he's in pain, because he's been holding his form too long. I don't know. Because they find out it's not withdrawal, because that his face does a thing. And Worf figures it out. How long have you been away from the Great Link? And that's where this scene ends. So that part of it.
And it's pretty great. He's actually dealt with them. Raffi's never seen a changeling. None of the TNG crew ever did. He's like, yeah, well, I'm good friends with the Changeling, and I fought them a couple of times. They were real bad. But he's so calm about it. And it's really strong reveal.
The red herring used on the red lady. I like that. And then the red vines behind 7. It's all connected.
There you go. But yeah, great Worf reveal. Very well done. Just wish the sets looked even remotely nice, because it makes all the shots look dark and dingy and gross. Wish one a nicer set. But then back to the bridge, because now actively saying, yes, we must attack. We must.
Yes, but more contention where he does say, Picard says something about fear of loss. He's like, fear of loss, you're out of line. It's going back to the loss of Thaddeus, I believe.
Yep.
Another good tension builder here.
Yeah, that definitely...
How many times must your strategy fail before you know it's not?
That's fair. Yeah, it's... And then the way he sits down is like... You prick.
He says, sit down, I don't know. Like a scolded kid.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable, actually, the way they do this scene. Because obviously Picard's trying to be Picard, but... But yeah.
Yeah, and then we get back to the Changeling. It's hard to hold his form. And
I don't know why he doesn't. Don't know why he doesn't just become Blob. Then there's nothing stopping him.
I know.
It's unnecessary dialogue, really.
Human, your worlds are on the verge of destruction. Soon the Federation will crumble. That's where Worf and somebody asked last night, did Worf kill him? No, Worf is just I don't know what Worf was trying to do. But he didn't kill him.
I mean, it looked like he was going to gouge out his eyes, honestly, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reveal of the weapon being a red herring was beautiful. One of the best twists of the season, because then it means that, Vadik must be the villain. Nah, she's not. The Changeling's the villain. Nah, they're not. The weapon's the thing. Nah, it's not. Lots of misdirections. I like it. And then he becomes a gooey, fleshy puddle, not really very close to the Changeling puddle at all. So we're certainly both hoping there'll be a reason, because if you did not know this was a Changeling, you would say it was another shapeshifter. You would not say Changeling. It's too different. So I'm hoping...
It looks like liquefied fat and meat.
Yeah, it's as if there's a Resident Evil film and one of the Resident Evil creatures went... Yeah. Exactly like that. So clearly, I get a sense he's diseased. My overall theory, to make it explain it, because it's not a correct effect, it's too different, that once they were thrown out the link, as their ability to regenerate was broken in some way, and they had to form like a separate sublink to try and survive, and that doesn't do with them well. Their creatures evolved to live as part of this billion sentient creature, one creature. So this is their inferior. Okay.
Vince says, I think we can accept that special effects have evolved. Lads, you got to retort to that, Samuel? The special effects
Worf's head looks like Worf's head. The phaser looks the same. Why would the
phaser's exactly the same.
Why would the puddle? We know exactly how they look at life, death, birth, youth.
More of a gold color.
Like you say that, but why would it have changed? There's obviously a reason. Like it's a species thing. You can't just change a species thing without a reason. Now warp is different because new warp engines, but it's the same. Yeah, it's not an argument. Now, if that's the case, fuck it, it's different. Okay, who cares then, right? Like okay, everything's different. Who cares? Whatever. But it's not as connected.
Yeah, but one is 1996 CG. Yeah, it is, and it looked better. Here you could tell it was a little bit, didn't interact with the environment as well, and they could probably modify that now. But to change the overall appearance of it,
well, it looks entirely different. It's not it looks good or bad. It's just entirely different. Like you would not say it was a Changeling from DS9 if you did not know, because it does not look at all the same. It looks great as a body horror thing, but not as a Changeling, which is fine. Like I say, I think there'll be a reason, because that's quite cool if there is. And then yes, Worf pulls out a not visually rebooted, not 2002 old phaser, just a phaser. And it did occur to me during this thing, I've talked about how I prefer the phasers of Gene's vision, but also the scale of this phaser compared to the hand blaster phaser, it's so much smaller that of course a warrior would want efficiency. This thing is going to be super capable just because the other one is bigger. Phasers aren't going to get radically better over time, so I love the fact he's got the smallest possible phaser. Yeah. Because that goes in his holster. You can literally put that in a pocket. Is how small it is. The gun thing is giant. It's big props. So, yeah, I love that. I mean, it's such a nice.
When he vaporizes it, it does kind of do the ashes on him. So.
And that's kind of horrible. Like he just full on murders a Changeling, and it's pretty horrible.
Ray Ricks throws in 2 pounds and says it's Klingorks all over again.
There's a reason.
Then we hear, when I punched him, his face changed like a changeling's would. Then we get a Worf dialogue. In the past, the changelings were a powerful enemy of the Federation, united in purpose. When the Dominion War ended, there was a schism. A terrorist faction broke away, unwilling to accept defeat. I was contacted by a close friend within the link, a man of honor. He informed me of this rogue group. But if Starfleet were to acknowledge their existence, we would be reigniting the Dominion War. It's great. I wish you would have said Odo by name, but
you could argue it's name dropping. I know Odo, the famous Odo. Or is he even Odo anymore? He's been part of the Link for 20 years. Maybe he's not really Odo anymore. He's just Link. Oh, that's Zelda. No, I thought the speech was perfect. And just the right level of information versus whatever to sell a new audience. Although, who the hell is a new audience watching Picard Season 3? Because none of the Picard stuff's going to land. None of Beverly. Nothing's landing if you're a new fan. Yeah. So why even bother? But it worked as a good brief already.
Then we get more of this was a distraction, a red herring, and then you and I, Raphael, are now partners.
Glory to you and our house. What?
Then we get the explosion on the Titan, which disables one of their power conduits, which means no warp. So, unable to go to warp, turn and fight is the option. Riker's like, we're going to lose. So, and Picard says we either fight or we die. So.
Yeah. No, it's great. And this, I now feel like they've finally reached a point of we can be good in our storyline. It does help, though. They're going to go to Daystrom next episode, which is a Starfleet station. So we'll hopefully get out of Less Arena.
Yes.
Because I hope this thing blows up every episode. I'm just like, destroy it, destroy it, destroy it, destroy it, destroy it.
This is great, though. Like, the Shrike is already turned around, so she's already aware of they're behind her. They fire. She opens up a portal, and then they get hit with their own torpedoes, which I see a few problems with that. You could avoid and detonate the torpedoes remotely or whatever. But whatever, it is what it is. A cool scene. They basically break their own back, and they have no control over the ship, and they're tumbling towards a gravitational well of this nebula.
Yeah, my only issue with this scene is that the Titan did the whole maneuver. How did they predict where the Titan was being? Because they launched the portal, which means it had to open and open. They had to know where it was going to end, because it was a pre-launched thing. Titan maneuvers away, so they'd exactly guess where they were going to be, and just behind them, and not in them, or whatever, and then fire torpedoes. Or is the portal such that you can actually or activate both sides of it at different times, in which case the torpedoes are going in, being held in time, and then a second portal is opening, in which case it's also a stasis weapon as well. It would have been... the chance of them predicting the route was very small, and then hitting them was very small. It was that perfectly aimed. Especially, I imagine that LaForge is doing maneuvers, not straight line, and yeah, fire everything is not for torpedoes. It's phasers, phaser ball turrets, torpedoes, aft torpedoes as it goes away. Keep firing. If they'd fired aft torpedoes, it would not the portal closed. They would have all hit, wouldn't they? So yeah, it is not a lot of sense, but they just have to get us to damage ship. That's all that is really. There's another. And then again,
it's a great visual though, shooting yourself with the portal.
Looks great. Doesn't quite make sense. And same thing. Why is the shields are now obviously down in that section? Why isn't the Shrike beaming people over? Why isn't the Shrike tractor beaming them away? Why isn't the Shrike stopping and doing anything? Why does it leave? There's no reason why it leaves, apparently. That was quite confusing.
Well, there's also no reason that Riker would say this to Picard either.
Well, if he thinks he's about to get killed and he's pissed with him, there's a little bit of a consideration there.
Remove yourself from the bridge. You just killed us all. In front of the entire bridge crew.
Yes.
They've been there.
Yes.
We'll see. It's not because he's a changeling.
But I assume certainly next week we're going to see the Shrike beam people aboard like in the trailers. There'll be a firefight.
Yeah.
A, B, C, etc. But it ends on a great shot. And the fact that we're going through the nebula portion, now we're in the that is just straight out of Discovery, that asteroid field. It's probably the exact same assets. There's several nebulas and stuff that are just that, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering, maybe there's a planet underneath. Maybe there's whatever. Shakari A.
Well, that tumbling ship, though, with the lights flickering off and one bizarre collector being on, one off, that was really well done. I like the way the power was fluctuating on the ship.
Yes.
Andre Benson throws in $5. I'm with you. Changeling liquid form is a gold yellow-like color. This changing color is yellow and brown color. I hope they will explain it. I hope they will too.
Yeah, it's a mimetic life form of liquid goo that glows. It's not liquid flesh that melts and it's a species.
Sergeant Montgomery, member for 27 months at the rank of lieutenant, says, "Don't forget about Laws, the changeling that was found flying through space by Odo and O'Brien. I bet the changeling's behind the attack. I bet that's the changeling that's behind the attack."
Who knows? Would not have been my first guess, but
no.
I just prefer they just simply they're changing and said no. Are you joking, Mr. Odo? We're not going to follow you. What do you mean? And therefore they rebelled. And that's it. You know, we disagree with your choices.
Son of John, $10.
Thank you.
Rewatched episode 1, and the scene where Picard and Riker board the Titan. Riker does a double take at the saboteur as they walk. It's possible that Riker and the saboteur know each other. Changelings. He does look at him, yes, but he's also there to do a fake inspection. So it's like,
I mean, the worst thing to do if you're a secret infiltrator is to look at your co-conspirator in the face and linger. So I'm gonna put a kibosh on that. Changelings are actually quite smart. That's kind of their whole shtick.
General Grievous, $2. How many times have they almost been killed?
All of the times. Every episode of TNG.
All right, so this is it, guys. This is your chance to give us a score out of 10. Super chat in with your score out of 10.
I want to know people's scores. I'm super interested.
Yes. So super chat in. I will read those when we are done giving ours.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to super chat, just want to put in the regular chat, do that as well. But Samuel will read those when we're done.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your chance to score it out of 10. And we're going to see what you guys think.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'll also read out the poll as well as we get those final things coming in. What do you think of the Changing Twist with 182 votes? 42% liked it. 40% loved it. That's an 82% positive. 15% okay. And a shocking 3% disliked it. I wanted something new. Nice.
All right, so my closing thoughts. Has my opinion changed at all? No, not really. It's a very good episode. There's a lot of really good stuff in here. A lot of good acting, fantastic writing, great scenes, very well directed. Again, this is Jonathan Frakes directing this one. He knows the material, he knows the characters, he knows the actors, he knows what he's doing, and it shows in this one. This was probably my favorite out of all of them so far. Willing to say, fantastic space shots. I love the portal stuff. The Shrike just pummeling the Titan is great as well. Good Shaw moments. Like I said, Gates McFadden was on point with her Beverly in this one. Looked really good, sounded really good. Her logic makes sense. It's debatable whether she did the right thing or not. I think it didn't make a villain. It didn't villainize her, honestly, which I thought it would have to, and it didn't. So that was good. The Riker and Picard stuff. Again, I think they're speaking in code. I think they have a plan. Hopefully that is the case, because it does seem very out of character for Riker. I'm pretty sure he's not a changeling, so I'm not really concerned about that. I think it's just a red herring again to throw people off thinking that he is a changeling, all the audience members anyway. And I don't think that's the case at all. So, and Worf and Raphael, yeah, fantastic. I love that they're a team now. Her character's becoming much more likable. They're not dwelling on the drug addiction, the withdrawal, anything like that. They moved her along pretty quickly, and I think that's really great. Worf coming back he owned this episode. The whole introduction to him, all of his titles were fantastic. So yeah, more Worf, please. Love it. I can't wait for him to get on board of the Titan, and I can't wait for them all to get together, honestly. And I want to see Geordi. Hopefully we'll see Geordi next episode as well. So.
Or someone, or maybe a TNG, or maybe a Voyager DS9 person at Daystrom, because he's at Museum.
Yeah.
Because there aren't any other TNG.
They did send an SOS. I'm thinking the SOS is going to get out. Geordi's going to intercept it, get on a ship, maybe pick up Deanna on the way, and they're going to end up and save the day.
The problem is they're outside Federation space. I don't think the Starfleet Museum is in anywhere near the edge of Federation space, so there's no chance that distress call goes.
They don't put that into consideration for these things, because it would have taken days to get where they are. It took them hours.
But you know what I mean, though, Stuart.
I do know exactly what you mean, but I'm cutting you off there and saying no. It doesn't matter, because the distances in space, it's whatever the script wants.
Vince, hey, Vince, don't worry. We want these sorts of fun debates because we have a point of view. Yes. You can always change our mind if you've got good thoughts. And remember, this is all art, personal perspective and personal preference.
Yep.
Now, stuff that's like canon, you can argue there isn't really personal preference when there's a right or wrong answer. But when it's artistic stuff, like obviously there's a personal preference, and we love, we don't want everyone to agree with us. We don't agree with each other. We didn't on our first review. Watch his face as I say what I say. He doesn't agree with what I'm saying, and that's okay. We're honest, and we have different perspectives. Donnie, give your score before you go.
So we are up to my scoring for this season. For this season, I'm going to give this a... Oof. Shit. I want to give it a 9.3, but I also want to give it a 9.4.
You put yourself in a corner here, Stuart.
I know. Okay, I'm going to give it a 9.46.
Okay.
And for all of Picard, this is like 9.8. This is great.
Do you want 9.81? You need to say 9.81.
I gave 9.8 last week, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
9.81, sure. There's gonna be better ones this season, I know.
The irony is, Stuart, you complained to me our first time going 9 point anything, and you're going to start to have to get a 9.92, 9.927 just to match yourself.
It's like the warp scale.
Yep.
It'll be fine.
You've done this to yourself, buddy. You've done. I have wiggle room in my scores. You have not in your scores. I love it.
I know, that's fine. I'm really enjoying the season so far. What can I say?
I love it. Hey guys, 30 more bucks would be great to end out our live. An extra hour. So we had that extra debate. Good stuff. My final thoughts. Different on both watchers. Character stuff is on point. All the legacies treated well. All the legacies given great dialogue. All the legacies given great scenes. I'm very encouraged by the fact that we had said originally, is it just going to be Worf in one episode and a group scene? Geordi in one scene, then a group scene. The fact that we actually genuinely had enough Riker in the episode to he's not a special guest star, meaningful star, right? And same with Worf.
And director.
And director, yeah, and that's why he was less in, but he wasn't in it enough. So I imagine we're still going to have episodes where they're in it less, but the fact that we know that Riker's going to move into Worf's storyline, I'm sure Beverly and Geordi are going to stay in Picard's storyline. I think even if they're not together the entire season, we'll probably get to a point where they're all in every episode, just doing their own sub-stories, which is the best way of doing it. Because they all have extremely specific skill sets, that's how we should use them. Perfect. It encourages me. It's not just Patrick Stewart Picard, episode 6 is the Riker episode 5 is the Geordi episode. Like, no, excellent. It's better than I could have thought. And they're all given good stuff. Raffi, fine. Storyline Changeling, really interesting. I think I said it last week, but I feel even more now, since we've just sort of stayed in the same place. Now all the setup's finished, we can move forward next week, right?
Hope so. Get the fuck out of this nebula.
Because 40% of a season in a damn nebula. This ain't no Wrath of Khan. It'll get visually. I know we changed to a dark space. I get it, but Jesus, it's the same day as well. Don't have the whole season be in one day. But lots of good stuff too. Definitely better on second watch when you're not expecting them to do bigger and cooler things. You can just appreciate the small corridor conversations, which saves money. I genuinely think this and the last episode are meant to be cheap episodes to save money for later episodes, because all the Riker and Picard stuff are in standing sets. Cheap for what this sort of thing is. They almost entirely reused shots of Mata's Prime. I don't know if you noticed that. Cheap. Mm-hmm. They obviously had the set standing, and the scenes they filmed them were simple and cheap, as in they probably filmed the same time as last week's. La Serena, standing set. So Really cheap, and space shots, great, lots of them, but that's part of a bundle you do. So I definitely think these are under-budget episodes to make space for later season episodes where they're going to throw lots of good stuff at us. I really feel that is happening. Especially consider Vadik, she filmed this stuff the same as last week. So she was not... They were going to value that as less money to spend on her and those extras on us filming days, which saves budget. Which I like. Great. Absolutely fine. Score-wise... I liked it... I think overall better than last week now because of the breaking down the conversations. I still preferred episode 1 because the camaraderie between Riker and Picard was just gold platinum standard, and that was refreshing as all hell, and it felt true to point. And you had more locations that were more visually interesting. Les Arena is a terrible set, and Titan is very dark. You can only get so much visual interest on these sorts of sets versus, say, the Galaxy or the Sovereign or whatever. So that benefited the first episode radically compared to these episodes. And the Changing thing, the one thing was anything but what it was. This season, I'm going to say 8.5. All of Picard, happy to give it a solid 9, because it obviously beats most of Picard. Not even a question, right? I just know they can do better. That's what I'm looking at, right? It's good Trek. I know they can do better because this is the best they can do. That's sad because they can do better because there's better things they could do, right? Because you can't judge a season by whatever. And I saw a guy on Twitter say this is the best Trek episode in 2 decades, and I thought Wage Douche was much better than this. Like, there have been better ideas. This is just a good episode of Trek, but there are better ideas for sure in the last 20 years.
Best live action. Or maybe he hasn't watched Lower Decks, because most people haven't.
Sure. But that is like head of like much better than this, I thought. But that's different. Whatever. Oh, still the Genesis device. That's a fun one. All right, Stuart.
All right.
You'll be in Super Chat scores. Are we non-Super Chat scores? Put them in the chat right now.
So we got Metallica Fan 1442 with £2. 9 out of 10. Thanks for the live stream. No problem. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much.
Ray Ricks, £2. 9 out of 10. Some minor gripes, but overall very good. Threefold Path, £5. 5 out of 10 for me. Not bad, but there was a lot of dialogue and character development with Beverly that I did not like. Worf was 10 out of 10 though. Joseph Barbado puts in $2 and says a 9.5 out of 10. T. Louise Allen, $2. So excited for the rest of the season. Love Worf. Oliver Lavery Farag throws in £5 and says 9 out of 10. Really enjoyed the performances in this episode, but I would expect nothing less when Frakes is directing. Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to expect less from Frakes and Dawn and Gates. There's a reason they had 7 years of television and 4 movies. Because they're fantastic.
Tangerine Star 26, member for 29 months at the Link events, and
beautiful.
Gives us an 8 out of 10. Solid episode, but small handful of logic holes. Unfortunately, that happens in the best of things. And Verpine, $2. 9 out of 10. Solid episode. That's it for the Super Chat score.
And yes, Dan, we discussed it lots. Okay, non-Super Chat scores. What do you amazing people think? Just got to scroll back until I find them, because there's always the delay. Okay, Aaron, 8 out of 10. Ash, 9 out of 10. This episode was 7 out of 10. Aussie, 9.9. The Stanleys, 7. Claim Reed, 8. Rye, 7.7. Just Rye, 9. Alan Parr, 9.1. Eric, 8. Jill, 8.5. Marco, 8. Matt Bullman, 9.5 out of 10. Taken off for the not so good de-aging. Oh, Matt. Changing is worse than de-aging, I would say. Because it's way harder to do de-aging than changing. You just do Disneyland. Merlos, 8.9. Emma, 8 out of 10. But 10 out of 10 for Twok Clone. Bit of Rathakan for sure. Joseph, 8.5. Brendan, 9. Frank, 8.5. Amaran, 8.5. Severe, 9. T. Allen, 9.8. Almost perfect. Tajik Omri, 8.5. Zachary Gibbons, 8.5. Clive Williams, 8.5. Try to bite, 9 out of 10. The focal length 8.5. Rog 9 out of 10. Yeah. So mostly in the 8 to low 9 ratio. So you're on the little bit of a high end to our audience. I'm on the as high as the audience gets. Interesting. Normally we're low in the audience. Interesting.
Well, they do good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, we guys have a look at the de-aging, the uniform, the Elios, and the...
Not the Elios. That's this episode.
No, but that's what we have to come. And the Founders reveal. Those are all discussions to be had in these coming days. Huzzah! Huzzah.
That's right. So make sure you're subscribed and notified. Do all the things you need to do, guys. You know what we expect of you.
Yeah. And last minute or two, last super chat slot you always say is last super chat comment. So 9 out of 10 solid episode is verb pine, but any last minute hello, that will be good. But yes, join us of course on Monday for a discussion on one of the many things. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining for the 3 hours. Yeah, put in the chat right now. Who has stayed for all 3 hours?
Kudos to you if you did.
It's a long old time. You know, I basically woke up, edited Trekyards, made dinner 2 hours early, watched Picard, did this with you. Done nothing else at Picard today, except the 20 minutes of other TV.
This is the way.
But it's fun, Stuart. We managed to talk for 3 hours about 52 minutes of content.
Well, the first hour was honestly just fielding you guys' questions and concerns with your super chats. So it was only about 2 hours, but yeah, people have things to say about these. So I think most of these lives we're going to be doing for Picard Season 3 are going to be 3 hours long.
And Emma says, I think you guys are more open to animation than many fans who only watch live action, but we're blessed with many choices. I mean, clearly the views on videos relate to that. No one cared about Prodigy, but it's on the best track we've had in decades, so it's a real shame.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
And it's weird, didn't we all watch animation when we were younger in cartoon form, like almost everyone? It's weird that people have an aversion to that, especially with, you know, Kate Mulgrew in one show.
Yeah.
Like, we're not all... yeah, very odd.
And Jill 47 slides in there with the last super chat, probably, of $2 with a purple heart with thanks. So thank you very much, Jill. We appreciate that. I'm glad you're back, by the way. Great seeing you in the chat.
Yes. Hopefully you'll come back and get back to our TNG reviews, because we enjoyed your thoughts on those. And Emma says, Samuel's hair gorilla 1/4 inch during this long, great live. Yes, for the... We're doing a bit of the filming on Tuesday. So yeah, it's obnoxious, I know, but you know.
T. Louise Allen, $2 trumped Jill's.
Oh.
Got the last super chat slot. Live long and prosper. Thank you so much, T. Louise Allen.
And we have asked who's been here for 3 hours. Me, yes, me. Hi, I did. Haha, just got here. 3 hours.
Me, but fell asleep. That's funny, Cosmo.
Me sabi here all along, says Joan Grievous, being a bit of Star Wars love there with Jar Jar, Metallica fan, Ray Ricks, Tribunite, Aaron, Bill Barkley, not me. Oh, Bill. James Butler, nah.
My hair grew shorter, yes, it did. Verpine throws in $2. I give this review a 10 out of 10. Great discussion. Oh, thank you.
And do you think we learned things, Stuart, in our 3 hours discussion debate?
Possibly, yes, I believe so.
Because who else does these level of genuine debate? Because other people do like long meandering discussions, but here we are actually analysing the scenes.
Or long, I don't want to strokes of the shows. Like, this is fantastic. Nothing was bad about this at all. This was great. This is awesome. It's great to see. Blah, blah, blah. It's unhelpful. There are things that are wrong with it. So,
because if the more things you say, the more things you notice equals the more things that are amazing. Because you can comment both, you know?
All right, guys. I think we'll call it there.
All right.
Thank you to everyone that watched. We really appreciate you. Please come back. Do the things. We love you. So until next time, when we find out whether Samuel is in fact a changeling and has been for the last 4 years, he is Commander Cockins.
I'll never tell. And here's Captain Foley. Goodbye, all. Have a good weekend.
See you guys later.